Dalvin Cook signing with the New York Jets. We knew this is probably coming, and we said it right before we went off on the other live stream that this Zeke Elliott contract might set the tone and the baseline for a Dalvin Cook deal to get done almost like instantaneously, and instantaneously it was. Look, there are two angles to come at this from. We're going to have a lot of worried Williams in here today. We're going to have a lot of petrified Peters in here today. And I understand why. I truly do. I understand why it's going to be a panic for a lot of you. And you have good reason to be annoyed or alarmed. But there are two different angles to come at this. And you got to look at it from separate perspectives. Okay, you own Breece Hall already. What does it mean to you? You don't own Breece Hall yet. You haven't drafted yet. What does it mean to you? There are two different angles to look at this from. And quite honestly, this doesn't make me feel like the season for Breece Hall is going to be any lesser. It just means that there's something that's going to be in the forefront of your mind when you're drafting them, and it's going to make them fall. And there's certainly going to be some sort of divide, right? There's going to be some sort of spelling as this guy gets into full motion. But Dalvin Cook is an older player. He's also coming off an injured shoulder. He can't even practice right now. We're going to talk about all that and more. Take your phone calls. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So lots of stuff to talk about here today, and at the forefront of it all will be this Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook situation. We've got Zeke Elliott going to the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson concern. We've got Dalvin Cook going to the Jets, Breece Hall concern. We've got J.K. Dobbins saying, or reports from John Harbaugh, that he's 100%. Jonathan Taylor still injured, but going to report and be back with the team here soon. A lot to go over, a lot to digest. And I know that we have a lot of people that are to come in here panicked. And let's just hit it from the beginning. Let's hit the panic side first. Is there a kick to the nads right now if you are a current, already drafted owner of Breece Hall? Of course you're not feeling great. This is not ideal to have a big name player come into town and potentially be in a position to take away a bunch of work. Now, I think you're going to get a lot of people to come in here and say this is Hackett. Hackett's going to run two running backs. He did it in Denver. Everybody needs to back off that for a second and realize Hackett's not the head coach. Hackett is there just for Aaron Rodgers in some ways. And number two, Hackett was begging one running back to be the starter last year and take all the carries after Javonte tore his ACL. It was horrible timing. So let's not pretend that Hackett always wanted to rotate running backs all year last year. He didn't. He just didn't have any left, and he would have gone all in on Javonte. But that's neither here nor there. What we need to focus on right here, right now, is what does Breece Hall's value look like in existing leagues, and how do you react and adapt to that? You don't do much other than try and acquire Cook just to have the good handcuff together. But am I worried about Breece Hall having a top 10 running back season? No, I'm not. Am I worried? Do I think Breece Hall maybe doesn't crack the top 5 because of this? There's that potential. We have to be honest with ourselves. If we're going to be honest with the fact that Zeke Elliott comes in as a touchdown vulture into New England and he's going to affect Ramondre, we have to have some objectivity and say that he could take away some of the early work from Breece Hall. But here's the caveat, or here's the silver lining. For every draft that you have already done where you own Breece Hall, how many of them have you not drafted in yet? Because my thinking here is not always to this, I don't know. Not, is everybody having, Vamp says his Wi-Fi is bad. Can everybody hear me okay? I just want to make sure it's not my connection. Everybody has this reaction, overreaction, this kick to the nads, kick to the gut reaction, where people think that, okay, now that this situation has gone sideways a little bit, I'm going to just get out. And everybody does that at the same time. It's kind of like when people sell in the stock market and it causes a ripple effect and a trigger effect, and things start cascading. It's like everybody just gets out, and so his ADP doesn't just drop a little bit, it drops significantly. So we have to ask ourselves, are we headed toward a territory where, let's call Breece Hall's value before this, we'll call it, we'll do rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't need to go any further than that. Breece Hall had a value in this territory right here prior to Dalvin Cook landing on the roster. That's even with being on the active PUP. That's even with the, oh, he's coming back from an ACL tear. I'm concerned. Now, the appropriate reaction to a Dalvin Cook signing who's not taking his job, Breece Hall is the starter. He's getting paid a significant amount of money to be a backup. Let's just say that. There is an uncomfortable amount of money, $8 million, I believe, that's being paid out to Dalvin Cook this year. That's a lot of money, $8.6 million. So there's concern to a degree that I even have to come in and objectively admit. But I'm not concerned about that right now because my mind goes into a positive direction. My mind goes into a, what can we do? What can we do going forward? Can we go ahead and say, let's take this guy in round 5 now? Like, is this value going to surpass round 5 and go straight into round 4 and go straight into round 5? I think so. I think he's going to fall potentially to 5.1, 5.4, 5.2, 5.5. There we go. Sorry. I think he's going to go from round 3, this territory here, fall all the way down into this round 5 territory. And that's where I feel like we have to re-enter this situation and ask ourselves, going forward, is this a blessing in disguise? Going forward, is this something where you've got to say to yourself, this is a better value than before? In terms of Walker and Charbonnet, ask yourself that question. Is Kenneth Walker in round 2 where he was going better than Kenneth Walker round 5? Was Charbonnet, the threat of Charbonnet, the security of Charbonnet, getting to cuff the two together? The answer is, I wouldn't press the button to undo the Charbonnet drafting if you paid me. Because I'd rather have Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet at 5th and 10th or 11th round value than have to pay 2nd round value with just Walker without the cuff. I'm not saying I feel exactly the same way about this particular situation, but I do know going forward, I absolutely am 100% okay with Breece Hall in round 5. Just completely fine with it. And I think the overreacting Oscars are going to shove him into round 5 because there will be a crazy, inappropriate, not correct, not proper adjustment by the entire fantasy football industry. I just saw on ESPN that they said, I think it was Mike Clay was asked, where did you rank him before? Top 10. Yeah, top 10 running back. Easy. Where do you rank him now? Probably 20. Doubled. He doubled the number. Breece Hall went from 10 inside the top 10 to 20. So if you think he's not falling at least from 3 to 5.1, I think you better buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. And there are going to be a lot of overreacting Ians in here. A lot of them. Harrison, this is what we need. Harrison, please tell everybody this. I hope you spread the word so well with this comment here. Harris says Breece should be a 7th or 8th round pick. If you believe that, Harris, bro, you need to watch more shows. I appreciate you, but goodness gracious, bro. Drop to round 5. I think he's going to. I think this is going to be one of those blessing in disguises moving forward. And I think similar to how everybody reacted when Charbonnet was drafted to the Seattle Seahawks. And I admit I had like a 2 or 3 minute, like, what? Because a lot of it was I got kicked in the nuts in terms of Charbonnet not being an independent value. And he kind of got squashed on that. So that part was hard to adjust to for about, 8 minutes. Okay. But just like everybody came back around on Kenneth Walker, everyone's going to come back around on Breece. But our community is going to see this for what it is. Our community is going to be able to come in and say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'd rather have Madison over him. Okay, good, Harrison. Tell everybody, please. Please tell everybody. I'd rather, Smitty, I'd rather have Alexander Madison over Breece Hall. Thank God there are people that still think like this. Thank you, Harrison. Appreciate you. I'm serious. Harrison, the pleasure is all on this side of the table. I promise you. I'm grateful. I know you're trying to hate on me right now and you think you're a hater or something, but I'm blessed right now to have you in the live stream. I'm blessed that you're out there spreading that kind of gospel. Please keep doing it. Brofist to you, Harrison. Please continue. Please, please, please. Scotty says, Reebok in the building. Appreciate my boy Reebok. Fun question. Which cuff would you do based on a similar scenario? Walker, Charbonnet, Hall, Cook. They're both very, very important, I think. And if there is a takeaway from this going forward, it is that I don't know that Dalvin Cook's value can climb as high as we might think it could because you've got Breece Hall there. So Dalvin Cook's not in any sort of great situation either. Dalvin Cook going to Miami would have been a much better situation for Dalvin Cook prospecting owners. Now it's like Dalvin Cook's in the worst possible situation he could be in. He's got Breece Hall, a top 5 running back, sitting in front of him. His ceiling is already like it's capped. He can't even reach any sort of ceiling. He's got a governor on him from the jump. So, you know, you guys got to look at this from two different angles. If you've already drafted and you spent third round value on Breece Hall, it is what it is. Now he's going to go for a 5th round value. Is it good news for you that John that's already drafted, Bill that's already drafted, Smitty in some of my leagues that I've already drafted? Is it bad that we drafted Hall in round 3 when he's about to go in round 5? I mean, it sucks. It is what it is. The nature of fantasy football, the nature of ups and downs. But by no means am I removing this man from the Mars Man list, the Moon Men extraordinaire activities. This guy is a top 1 to 5 running back in the National Football League. And if anybody's scared off by an older player like Dalvin Cook, especially from a long-term perspective, you got to think about what you're doing with your life. You really do. And if you think Dalvin Cook, who can't even practice right now, isn't a major injury risk at his age anyway, you got another thing to look at as well there. So I think what the takeaway here is this. You already drafted. It sucks. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. You are now going to get Breece Hall at 5th round value and you paid 3rd round value. You couldn't have seen it coming months ago. This past couple weeks, there's been a whiff of this, going down. There's definitely been a little bit of concern that could happen, and it is what it is. It is what it is. But is Dalvin Cook in his prime? No. Is Dalvin Cook likely to stay healthy? No. Absolutely not. You're leading your viewers to last place. Well, here, let me help you, Harrison, because all you're doing is being a hater, so we'll just send you on your way, okay? If it's that big of a deal to you where you have to sit here and continue. Look, I let people say dumb comments in the comments. I let people disagree in the comments. But when you come in here and you keep saying it over and over and over, and you tell me I'm leading my viewers to last place, guess where you're going, Harrison? To the dumpster, bro. And so, goodbye, Harrison. It was a nice run you had, but we'll see you later, pal. We'll see you later. You had a chance to have a good conversation about it, but instead you want to act like you had this amazing thing to say, and you're the only one that knows what's going on, Harrison, that you have the answer. You got the Gray's Book Sports Almanac. Well, guess what, bro? You don't. And I put you in the time machine and sent you back to the future before you could comment in here. So there you go. Cook still has something left in the tank, and that's why he's a good cuff. Breece ain't ready yet. I don't think that's the case. Breece is running 23 miles per hour, bro. I think this is a situation where they want to protect their long-term asset in Breece Hall. Breece Hall, maybe they do slow him down too. Maybe they slow him down. Who knows? But I'm still buying Breece Hall at 5th round value in redraft. I'm still buying Breece Hall in Dynasty. I still bank on Breece Hall as a top potential 5 to 10 running back this year. Maybe he's no longer inside my 5 because maybe he is slow started, which honestly at the end of the day could be a very good thing for him. But I think people are forgetting so much about how good this kid is. It's so funny to see the negative reactions. There's so many negative reactions on this one. This is like a couple other times we've come in here and it's been a divide, and it's okay. We're not always going to agree, but this guy is an absolute phenom, and it saddens me. It saddens me to see a big, huge like shift in Breece Hall belief because Dalvin Cook, an older player with a huge injury risk, he can't even practice right now, is making everybody run away from him. Why aren't people running away from Aaron Jones? Why are people not running away from other running backs that are in sharing situations? Why are people not running away from Jahmyr Gibbs right now when Monty's on the roster about to consume 1,200 yards and 7 to 8 touchdowns? It's an inappropriate reaction. I'm trying to come in here and calm the storm. I'm trying to come in here and tell you that Breece Hall's the future of this team. I'm trying to come in here and tell you that Breece Hall may start slower than maybe we thought, like maybe 10 carries in week 1, 11 carries, which you can still do very efficient things on. If you remember back, he had 3 carries for like 70 yards and a touchdown the game he tore his ACL. About 65 of those on 2 carries and a touchdown, and then his third carry he tore his ACL. I just feel like there's never an appropriate reaction. It's always an extreme reaction in the wrong direction. It's always a very extreme reaction in the wrong direction. And this is what it is. This is what it is. It is what it is. Even some people in this community are going to disagree, and that's fine. You guys can definitely disagree. I don't want anybody to think that. Just Harrison's just running his mouth. Everybody can have different opinions. It's okay. If someone says I'm just not going to draft him, I get it. I understand it, but I think people need to realize that in week 4 is going to come very quickly. Week 3 is going to come very quickly. If Breece Hall's back on his horse 100%, I'm not saying he's not playing week 1. I'm not saying he's not getting 10 carries in week 1. I'm not saying there's any setback at all. I'm just saying if they bring Cook in to play a lot of carries, not to mention he can't practice for another week, he probably will be barely ready to go by week 1 anyway. And so the thinking that he's just going to come in and get all the work, everyone needs to realize, even if he was taken off the board for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, let's just say, in a worst case scenario, something they're like, let's be cautious with him. Let's not play him week 1 and week 2. People are forgetting that he can be the number 1 running back from like weeks 5 through 17. I just don't understand the jumping of the ship. I don't get why everybody's jumping off when you have so many other players in situations where there's other running backs on the roster. Aaron Jones is getting drafted in the 4th round by some of you. You can't draft Breece Hall in the 4th round because Dalvin Cook's there. Some of you are drafting Jahmyr Gibbs now against my advice, not because he won't earn it, but because you can take advantage of him in round 3. But Gibbs is Monty taking work, and everyone understands that concept. I don't know why everyone's freaking out over the long-term value of Breece Hall. When you can get him in round 5, you can get him in round 5. You can get him in round 5. I know we all drafted him in 3, 4. It is what it is. This is fantasy football. We're nailing so many things so far this offseason. We've been hit by a baby piece of bad news. A baby piece of bad news. The Moon Men list is going crazy. The Mars Men list is going to go nuts. I'm not worried at all. I'm not taking him off the Mars Man list. I'm not. Breece Hall to the moon. And if let's say half the shuttle disembarks, so be it. We'll take away Breece Hall cards if we have to. We'll take away Bijan cards if we have to. But Breece Hall will be fine. He'll be fine. Phone lines will be open in a second. Let's just go over this real quickly. You do have to look at this and say to yourself, okay, this is an $8 million contract, so Breece Hall is definitely going to see this man on the field. We can't dance around that. They definitely felt good enough about bringing him in at that value that they think he can still play. And I think he will be very, very decent when he's on the field. No one's saying that Dalvin Cook can't play well when he's on the field. I think it's crazy to assume they're going to replace Breece Hall. They're not. I saw one person say this is the running back one. like going forward, like the whole season, he's the running back one. That's absolutely asinine. J.K. Dobbins should be 100% according to John Harbaugh. We'll see what happens on that front. I'm still staying clear of that situation. JT should be returning to the team activities, but he'll remain on the PUP as he recovers from his ankle that he still is not over. And that should make people petrified. Zeke Elliott signing with the New England Patriots. This is more concerning to Ramondre than Cook is to Breece Hall, in my opinion. And that's just how I feel about that. I'm going to hit this button for Breece Hall because I don't agree with half of what a lot of people are saying in regards of this situation, devaluing Breece Hall to the seller. He's not a cellar dweller player. This is a round 5 steal going forward.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece. He's Breece.
He does a whole of a job. A whole of a job. A whole of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
He does a hell of a job.
It's sad to see all the people jumping ship. It is. It's hard to see it. It's hard to see it. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it in here. It's sad. It's sad to see Breece Hall. Everybody abandon him with one signing of an injured player. And again, I like Cook. I think Cook still has some gas left in the tank. But this is crazy to me. This is crazy to me. The overreaction is madness. The concern is understandable, especially at third round value, which you just paid. But the readjusted value that's on the way down the pike, it's fifth round, is an overreaction to the extreme, and you're winning leagues with Breece Hall in round 5. Plain and simple. So you can look to the past all you want. You can get in the DeLorean and try to turn back time. You can't. There's now and there's moving forward. And right now, Avi, can you mute yourself? I just put you on hold, but you got so much reverb. It sounds like you're in a laundromat. If you got now, where you have Breece Hall at 5th round value and moving forward, the past is the past. If we all reflect on where we bought Breece Hall, that's not going to get you anywhere. You have to reassess the situation. You have to become a fantasy football student of the game. You have to figure out a way to ignore some of those painful things that oftentimes end up hooking people into this negative spiral of news and negative Noah commentary. Let's go over to Travis real quick, and then Avi, stay on hold until I come over just so they keep that noise to a minimum. Go ahead, Travis. You're live.
You're now a propagandist too. They're calling you.
Yeah, there's a couple haters in here. It's fine. I mean, we have 400. We got 475 people in here. I'm sure a few new people popped in that it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's worse than the Fields haters.
Yeah, look, I get where people are coming from, but people need to look at this from the perspective. We're not talking about the third round anymore. That's over. That's in the past. Everyone's living in the past. Breece Hall's now probably, and I don't even know if he falls further than 5.1. That's my initial knee-jerk assessment of what I'm seeing based on some of the comments from people that were a Breece Hall truther apparently a few days ago. And a lot of people jumping ship makes me think he might fall past 5.1 with ease, which makes me think in your existing league where you didn't get Breece Hall and you can trade for him, goodness gracious, you can go trade for Breece Hall right now at bottom dollar pricing. Like this reaction is crazy. crazy. Like these comments right here, these ridiculous comments. Hall is toast in all capitals. It's crazy. This is crazy, bro. I feel like I'm in Bizarro world right now. The overreaction is not. The overreaction is silly. It's absolutely silly.
Dalvin Cook is better than Breece Hall at football. Breece Hall's coming off an ACL injury.
Finish him.
I'm not saying Breece Hall can't
Call
be elite,
terminated.
but
Hung up on. That's a ridiculous take. That's a ridiculous take, Avi. That's a ridiculous. I've never had to hang up on Avi before for making a ridiculous. He's better than Cook is better than Breece Hall at football. Give me a break, bro.
I was gonna say that last year when he was a rookie coming into the league, was he going like 4th round, give or take?
Where? Who? Where? Who? What? When?
Breece Hall. Last year, Breece Hall. Where was he being drafted?
I want to say it was like 4 or 5. Brandon says Avi sounded like a casual. I mean, come on, Avi, you're better than that. You're better than that. Come in with a what you think's a spicy take, and then.
So the point I was going to make was he's going to be in that same area as he was last year. People took him in that area last year. He took a few weeks to get going, which, like you said, he could do. But by week 4, 5, 6, he's going to be ramped up. I mean, 100% guaranteed. And think of how many people were on the train at that point. 100%, he's the number one back in the league by that point.
Yeah, here's the question you asked.
There's no reason that can't happen again.
If you came to me and said, Smitty, I got bad news. You didn't hear this information until right now, but here it is. Okay. He's out for 3 games. He comes in week 4. He's out 3 games. Like you just said, and like we talked about, he could have been the number 1 running back in fantasy football with his slow start last year. He didn't get going until week 4. Week 4 to week 7, I believe it was. He was on such a tear from weeks 4 to 7, even up to his ACL tear, even with his 3 carries for like 70 yards and a touchdown. This guy was on pace to be the number 1 or at least number 2 running back in fantasy football, and he didn't do anything until week 4. It is crazy to me. The overreaction. It doesn't. I know it looks like I'm bothered, but I'm absolutely excited. I'm absolutely excited about the fact that Breece Hall, you're going to be able to steal him away in round 5 right now and be able to win a league. Just win a league. Avi, you can call back. You say something that crazy, you end up getting triggered on the phone line hang up situation. That's just, you got hung up on that. That was crazy. Call back in and maybe reapproach it a different way. Someone said disrespectful hanging up on people. Bro, this is not a cookie cutter softball pitch show. Okay? This is a hard-nosed opinion show, and we're going to do it a certain way. This isn't a tiny little ESPN where everybody gets a second-place trophy. And, yeah, this show will be run by my opinion in terms of the direction of the show. That's the nature of it. That's why you're watching it. You're here to see, what does Smitty think? Am I always right? No. But do I think I'm going down some double-down path here? Am I double-down Donnie right now? Maybe a couple of you think so, but I'm telling you, this is ridiculous to start talking like this man who everybody loved two hours ago, now all of a sudden's toast. And I know that it's not everybody in here. But to come in, Avi, and say something as ridiculous as Dalvin Cook's better at football than Breece Hall, who was a top 1 to 5 quarter running back just 2 hours ago, Avi. 2 hours ago, and he's in everybody's Dynasty's top 5. He was. And he's better. Cook's better at football. He's on the decline. Maybe he's not as sharply declining as Zeke Elliott, but he's on the decline. He also has a mangled up shoulder that my grandma, bless her soul, passed away, has a better rotator cuff and labrum than Dalvin Cook has.
All right, wait, can I go? Can I talk for a little?
Yeah, go ahead.
Breece Hall is a great player. Dalvin Cook's a great player. I'm staying away from the entire situation. I'll say that first. Breece Hall is coming off an ACL injury. Like, he's going to be rusty out the gate. Dalvin Cook is going to be getting majority of the snaps to start the season. Dalvin Cook, have you watched him since Florida State? Yeah, he's had injuries and stuff. But this dude is so talented. Like, I'm not saying he isn't going downhill. He is. This is like maybe his last good season. Breece Hall in Dynasty is completely fine. Completely fine. I'm just saying for 2023, you better get Breece Hall late. You better get him very late.
So where's late to you, Avi? Where's late to you? Where are you buying Breece Hall? Because it sounds like you wouldn't take him in round 5, which is crazy,
I don't know.
bro.
I'm taking maybe DeAndre Swift over Breece Hall now, just because opportunity alone, stuff like that. I don't know.
Do you hear what you're just saying? Do you hear what you're saying right now? Do you hear? Look, I don't want this to come off as an anti DeAndre Swift take, because you guys know how much I love DeAndre Swift. He's going in round number 6. Everybody mute real quick if you're not talking, because sounds like I got a circus going on in the background. So just hit mute real quick. Everybody, includes Avi, includes everybody. Hit mute especially if you're not like in the conversation yet, and I've added you to the phone line. But bro, DeAndre Swift is a 6th rounder. You just called Breece Hall a 6th rounder. On top of that, tell me how in the hell DeAndre Swift doesn't have more volume concerns or injury risk, and we love him in round 6, than Breece Hall. What are you talking about?
I was just bringing up a name. Like, I could list a few more, but I'm just saying Breece Hall has no upside with Dalvin Cook in there. He just doesn't. It could be like the Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon stuff. Like, Dalvin Cook's a beast. Like, this guy's a beast, though. He's not that old yet. It's not like he's, like, completely washed. Like, you know what I mean? So I
don't mind Dalvin Cook. I don't mind Dalvin Cook, but he's on the decline. He's certainly on the decline. Like I said, is he on as sharp a decline as Zeke Elliott? No. Zeke Elliott is like a year ahead of where Cook will be in a year. Cook will be where Zeke is in a year. But bro, this is not a player you replace. And everybody's saying he's not 100%. You keep saying that like you've heard it from another show, and you're just regurgitating it out of your mouth. Hall's hurt. Hall's hurt. He's hurt, though, Smitty. He's hurt, Smitty. He's got an ACL, Smitty. Didn't you hear about it? Didn't you hear? Like, I don't know what's going on with his health. Like, I don't know what's going on with his knee. We know he's coming back from an ACL tear, Avi. We know he's also running 23 miles per hour in practice, Avi. You can't do that if you're still very hampered. It's about trusting the cutting, getting your mind right, and getting into football shape, which he has almost little less than 30 days to go. It's not like Barkley wasn't even close to where Breece Hall is right now when he started the season, his first year back from his ACL tear. ACL tears are not all the same. They're all about readiness. Look at Javonte. Javonte might be ahead of Breece Hall now. And Javonte, they're calling him a miracle recovery, but a month ago they weren't. And so Breece Hall's got another good 25 plus days to get where he needs to get mentally. He's running 23 miles per hour. You cannot do that if you're still hampered from your knee. The north and south stuff is already on lock. The lateral stuff is where he's got to get his mind right. You got to get your knee used to cutting because you don't want compensation injuries. Believe me, guy, I know what his health looks like. Now, if he suffered a setback and they're holding that back from us, this would make sense why they would do this, to get him right and not push him out there. We'll find out if that's why this maybe went down, and then we'll address it then. As of the information we have right now, and it's reckless to assume that because there's no information pointing to that. But if Breece Hall is where I believe he is right now, he's going to be light years ahead of that in a month from now. And it's just crazy to me, this aging running back who I still think has some gas left in the tank. I said that. And they're paying him $8 million. So they clearly believe he still has enough in the tank to supplement. But Aaron Rodgers' offenses oftentimes have 2 RBs like this. And it's not crazy to think that this is Aaron Jones and this is going to be A.J. Dillon. And the amount of work that Breece Hall can still get is probably enough for him to be fed to the degree we want him to be fed anyway. This is similar to the Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs situation. It's like look.
I know, but Dalvin Cook isn't just some like average running back. Breece Hall can do fine, but what his upside is now is just diminished. Like you can't Dalvin Cook has never had like a bad season when he's playing healthy. You know what I mean? He's always been a fine running back. So I just think it's going to be tough for him. I really do.
Well, I can't wait. Let me just say this. I cannot wait based on the reactions, and there are about half the people in here that are go Breece Hall. I'm telling you, there's about half the people in here that are petrified to the ends of the earth, which is natural, and that's why I come in here to calm the storm. A lot of the time, I feel like I can sway about 60, 70 people back in the direction of being calm and clear-headed about it. Sometimes I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm 100% right on everything. Could I be wrong on this? Hold on, Avi. Could I be wrong on this situation? Absolutely could be. There are things I get wrong every single year. But what I'm trying to tell people, nothing about the past, nothing about 2 weeks ago, nothing about your draft a month ago. That all is unfortunate because you went and bought a shirt that went on sale the next day and was slashed 20%. Is it good? Is the shirt still good? Yeah. Are you mad? Not at my shirt, but I'm mad that I just bought a shirt. The next day it was cut 20%. That's the only concern that I have. Right, as far as the price I paid for that player, and the fact that Breece Hall could be maybe sharing more work than we anticipated in weeks 1 through 4, let's call it. So in those teams, a little bit of a hit. I've acknowledged that. But right now, from today, August 14, moving forward, if everyone's going to carry that backwards, let's look to the past, let's worry about this and worry about that, and let it affect their go-forward evaluation, you're missing an opportunity here. If Breece Hall falls to where you kind of suggested, round 6, I'm going to clean up drafting Breece Hall in round 6 in every single league I have moving forward. This is a ridiculous conversation to suggest that you can't clean up with Breece Hall moving forward. Who cares about the past? This is what we have in front of us. I'm taking Breece Hall round 5 all day long. All day long.
Hey, I respect your side. I love fantasy football. We're gonna miss and we're gonna be right. You're right on most stuff, Smitty. We agree on Fields, Gibbs. We agree on so much stuff, and then we disagree on a lot of stuff. Hey, I love it. That's why we play the game. I'm hoping Breece Hall is a good year. I was all in on him before Dalvin Cook got there. We'll see what happens. All right, I'll let other people talk.
But that's what's crazy to me is like you were all in on him, and then now you say Dalvin Cook's better than Breece Hall. It doesn't. No, it's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. Avi, you just had him in the top 1 to 5 probably for RBs.
You say Garrett Wilson over Tyreek Hill. That's ridiculous to me. I think that is absolutely
no. To word it properly, at cost of entry, At cost of entry, I trade down to take Garrett Wilson. Is what you're trying to say, but you said it badly. Okay.
So if you said we're both on the board, you would take Wilson over Tyreek Hill.
I said, look, if I am in a position where I can trade down or mix it up, I would mix it up. I'll say that. I would mix it up. If I sat there at if let's say Tyreek Hill fell to a territory he never falls to, which is why it's hard to answer that question. At cost of entry, or if a plane door was closing, like my example, this is what I think you're trying to reference. I would yell Garrett Wilson before the door closed if you said who outscores the other one. Garrett Wilson. That's just how I feel. Garrett Wilson to the moon. Chance. Is that funny, Avi? You keep giggling over there, but
Tyreek Hill since 2018 has been the best fantasy receiver.
And guys don't rise. I guess guys don't rise. I guess stars aren't ever born.
29, bro. This is the cheetah, bro. This guy can score on any given play.
But Garrett Wilson, who's been lighting up camp, isn't capable of being a top 3 to 5 wide receiver.
Garrett Wilson is good, but there's levels to this. Tyreek Hill is just on another level.
But hey, I'll take. I love how Avi just giggles after everything he says.
I'll let other people talk.
Yeah,
I love you.
Yeah, well, okay. Go.
I was just gonna say real quick, and then I'll step back and let some people talk too. Like, I feel like people forget. Like, go back and look at his stat sheet, and it took him, a few weeks to get going. But over 7 weeks, he was averaging 5.8 yards a carry. Like, that's unbelievable for a young guy to just come in and after 3 games just come out and do that. And Dalvin Cook's 28 years old. He's still good, like you said to me, but, these running backs are good until they're not good either. In 28, not many guys make it past that point. So and on top of that, unless there's a definite setback, like you said, that we're not knowing about with Breece Hall, if Dalvin Cook was going to be the starter, he would have signed a month ago with the Jets if he knew he was going to walk in there and be the starter, So.
Yeah, let me put these super chats on here. Appreciate you guys dropping these super chats. I think I got all of them on screen. I'll file through them in 1 second. Let me go over on the phone line. Appreciate you, Travis. Let me go over to let's go over to the Cub, and then we have Okafor next. Actually, Rock Out, Marsman Rock Out. I'm sorry, he's a Marsman. He goes first. Marsman Rock Out, you're live. I'm sorry about the delay. I put Marsman Rock Out on hold last time. I made a mistake. Rock Out, go ahead.
Yeah, with this news, would you cuff the two, Cook and Hall together, or would you rather have the cuff with the KC backfield?
Would I rather Pacheco and McKinnon or have Hall and Dalvin Cook? I'd rather have Hall and Dalvin Cook by a country mile. I still love the KC backfield, but this is where we're going to get into a very, 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 very interesting territory. And I understand where some people are coming from. I understand the people that say, I'm just scared about this, I'm going to walk away. I get it. And I'm not mad at anybody about it. But what's crazy is when we don't have an open mind to like 5th or 6th round value. Like, I understand the disappointment. Like, that part is very obvious and understandable. But round 5 and round 6, are we really taking a running back that we all thought was 1 to 5 in Dynasty? And I still believe that. And just going to remove him from the board? Are we just going to remove him from our draft list because Dalvin Cook, who is still good, still has gas left in the tank, very injury prone, super injury prone, got a potential off the field issue still lingering, and he's going to come in and have to play second fiddle eventually to Breece Hall. In the initial weeks, maybe he does have more carries, and that would be understandable if the team's looking out for their future player in Breece Hall. But I'm not arguing that Dalvin Cook doesn't have value. I'm not arguing that Dalvin Cook doesn't have some ability left in the tank. I'm not arguing that Dalvin Cook might not be the technical starter on week 1. Like, that's possible. But when push comes to shove, when week 5 or 6 comes around and Hall's in motion, like, he's the number 1 running back. He's the future of this team. He is a top 1 to 5 running back in the National Football League, and he's so far ahead of schedule, it's not even close. Comparing the individual recoveries of Barkley and J.K. Dobbins, their first year back from ACL recoveries, and Breece Hall and Javonte. Breece Hall and Javonte are light years ahead of where those individuals are. Not to mention Breece Hall is a good 25, how many days do we have exactly? It's like 25 plus days until opening day. We have so much time for this man who's running 23 miles per hour to get even better and back on track. I look, if I was in charge of a football team, I would bring in Dalvin Cook. Like, I'm being honest here. I think he's still got enough gas left in the tank that a team that needs an RB, a team like the Miami Dolphins, as an example, the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, I would bring in Dalvin Cook. I would bring Dalvin Cook. And if I'm being completely honest, I would even consider it in some context if I felt like I wanted to ease Breece Hall in weeks 1, 2, 3, 4 in a New York situation. But we are forgetting hours ago where you all ranked Breece Hall. It's just a overreaction to an extreme degree. I've never seen an overreaction to this degree. I on this show. I haven't. I have not seen an overreaction this crazy. Rock Out, before I go over to the Cub, did you have any final thoughts on this topic or What are you feeling? And you can be completely honest. I'm not going to be mad at anybody. I'm only I don't know. I'm 80% excited. Like I know it seems like Smitty's off his rocker. He's going crazy on everybody. I'm 90% excited about this gross overreaction because it means we're seeing Breece Hall in round 5. I only wish my hometown league drafted. It's in the middle of the 10th round right now. I only wish that draft kicked off today or tomorrow and not a week ago. Like, I have Miss Smitty's work league. I hope this news trickles so hardcore throughout all the news wires and people start overreacting. If I get Breece Hall around 6 in Miss Smitty's work league, we're gonna be living the dream here, because I want to win her work league really bad. Last year I had it. I was right at the end, and then I had Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Or I think I had both of them. I forget who I had. It was a Bengal. The last game I had Chase and another player, Chase and Burrow, I believe, and they didn't play, and it made me mad. It made me mad. I was pretty upset. I was pretty mad. Isaac dropping a $5. I got to get through these super chats real quick. So rock out. Anything else? Then I'll circle back around to you. All right, the Cub, you're up.
I actually had Breece Hall in the Dynasty last year, and then I drafted him. And when I heard the news about Cook might go into the Jets, I actually traded for him in the last week of June. And to me, I'm more happy with everything the move's going, because I feel like it kind of to me the competition between each other. I think those are two great backs that complement each other. Just having a good veteran running back like Cook, I think that's just gonna help Breece even see things a little bit more better, and he could just learn. I think iron sharpens iron, and I feel like it kind of gives Breece a little bit more time too to not push himself so hard or to get up in the beginning. And I think he could be like a league winner at the back of the season when those playoff leagues come, and he's still fresh now because he's been able to have the time to not be so week one he's getting 20 carries, because he averages five plus yards per carry. So if you get to do 10 and then you give him 5 catches, he's getting still 15 plus fantasy points.
The crazy part is
I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, the crazy part is I got to get through the super chat. Sick Nasty, hang tight. The crazy part is I understand the initial reaction. I get that part. That part makes sense. I know why people are in here panicked, and I know why people are upset that their third round values, now looking shoddy, in terms of the cost of entry or whatever. But I'm even reading some of the comments where people are I'm not going to take him around 6. I'm not going to draft him at all. Wow.
I think he just it's a long play. You got to get him for the
I feel like I'm in bizarro world.
So
I feel like I'm in bizarro world.
For
hey, keep in mind we got 550 people in here, and so some of these people are not even concrete regulars of the show. Some people are Dalvin Cook owners. That's the other thing too, is there's a lot of the new faces in here. They might be searching for this. I'm glad to have you, by the way. Subscribe if you're new. This is a controversial show. We get into a lot of screaming matches. If you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button so you're not missing out on this content. We hit 20K today, by the way. Behind me, you can see the 20K, or I had it behind me, but you can't. Let me see if I can show this. Hold on. We hit, Jameer Gibbs, you're in the way. We hit 20K today on the channel, 20K. So doing it live, appreciate every single one of you. Hit that subscribe button. A lot of people in here might have been searching for their Dalvin Cook shares, value reaction. So we're getting a lot of Dalvin Cook fans in here. So we're gonna have a lot of Dalvin Cook, pro Dalvin Cook takes. And it's okay to like Dalvin Cook. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with liking Dalvin Cook, and there's nothing wrong with being fearful of the situation. But some of these, I won't draft Breece Hall. round Hall. I won't take Hall in round 6. I won't take Hall in round 6. I can't believe that comment that just went by. And this one right here, Kill Jolts. I think Kill Jolts is saying it in a good way, but the fact that we're even having these conversations is exciting the hell out of me. 7th round, I'll be on that all day. 7th round, really? Like, guys, 5th round might be way low. Breece Hall is gonna maybe go to the 6th and 7th round. This is unbelievable in a good way. This is one of those things where, again, I'm not saying I want. I want my Breece shares in the past to feel like I overpaid. But if I think in a couple weeks you ask me if I could press this button and undo the Dalvin Cook signing, just like I say I won't press it for Charbonnet landing in Seattle, I'd rather have Kenneth Walker in round 5 and Charbonnet in round 10, 11 than to have Kenneth Walker without Charbonnet in the picture in round 2 at 15 overall. And I believe I'm going to come back 2 weeks from now, or a couple days from now, or tomorrow when I make a Breece Hall video and tell you, you know what? I wouldn't press this button to undo the Dalvin Cook signing if you paid me. Because right now, apparently, you can get him, according to some of the chatters, round 6 or 7. Unreal. Okay, hang tight. I'm going to go to Okafor, and then I got to get to these super chats. Okafor, make it quick.
No, come on, Smitty, man.
Oh, God.
Breece Hall has ended friendships, man. He's separated families. He got obvious things that Cook is better at football than Breece. You got Chance and Chat to take him off the moon medalist. It's wild, man. It's wild out here.
Yeah.
It's like he went from 8 foot tall to like a 4'8". People are wild out here.
Yeah, he did get chopped in half. He did get chopped in half. He went from 8 foot tall to 4.5. That's a great way to put it. I don't know what. I understand some of the reaction, but I don't get the general premise here. I don't get it. I'm not gonna get it. I'm gonna continue to take advantage of it. Am I worried in my league where I drafted him at 3.2? I'm not worried. I'm pissed off because the shirt I just bought at full price went on sale by 25, 30%, maybe 50. The way everyone's talking, if Breece Hall was a 3.1 and now he's going to be a 6.5 to 7 round player, the shirt you just bought 2 hours ago at, let's say, $100 is now priced at $49. So naturally, I'm pissed off there. I'm with everybody there. I'm with you. I'm with all of you in that. But does that mean the shirt is not worth the $100 at the end of the day? No, I'm going to buy it at $49. I'm going to buy it just like when a stock goes down from, let's say you buy it at $100 a share and you firmly believe in your gut that this stock is going to be a $200 stock, a $500 stock. You buy it at $100. You buy 100 shares at $100 and you spend a bag. Okay, then it drops to $80 a share instead of $100. But you know it's a $200 a share stock. What do? You buy more of it at $80. I'm buying more Breece Hall at 6th and 7th round value. If that's where he goes, I don't even know if that's where he's going to go. But everybody, depending on looking at the reactions, I'm more all in than before if he's in the 6th and 7th round. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And this right here, JSMK23, I didn't say that Stevenson's value tanked. This is definitely putting words in my mouth. You're saying Smitty's saying Stevenson's value is tanked, but not Hall's. I didn't say Stevenson was tanked. Go watch the live stream. I said I still very much like Stevenson, but you got to ask yourself what Bill's doing, and is Bill worried about something because he's continuously trying to fill that spot. You could say the same thing about the Jets. I agree, but Stevenson is not Breece Hall in my opinion. And second of all, Zeke Elliott is a touchdown specialist, and the fact that Stevenson's been one of the more underutilized goal line running backs in the National Football League, and Zeke was one of the top, I think he was like top 8 in terms of running back goal line touchdown, attempts and workload. And so you got that whole situation, which is a huge concern. So, I mean, definitely feel like, whatever. let's see here. Okafor, go ahead and finish your point.
No. So let's think about this rationally. So there's going to be some kind of split, right? Because
initially, sure. For sure. Initially, yeah.
It's a matter of how much of a split are we talking about? Are we thinking like 70-30, 60-40? In my head, I'm thinking something like 60-40.
I think it could be that in week 1, but I'd even call it 50-50 for sure, because I think Breece Hall is going to come out and get work unless there's some sort of setback. But I don't understand. I don't understand the overreaction. It's crazy.
It's like 60-40. I could see some head. But then if you look at the board, you got like Aaron Jones in a split. You have Kenneth Walker in a split. That's like around like beginning of the 5th round ish. You have Justin Fields. I'd rather have Justin Fields, I guess, at this point than Breece, because if we're talking about upside. Well, that's like end of the 4th. Then you got a bunch of names, and you got a little Madison. I think that's where we should slide around to. Aaron Jones.
Okay, so let me just agree with you in that I believe you're right. That's where he's going to fall. And I'm going to pounce all day long, bro. It sounds like 6th round. I said 5th round initially, but now I'm starting to 100% feel like the reactions are so crazy in the chat right now. I'm thinking 6th round is where he's going. I think 6th round is where he's going. And you find me a running back that's not sharing carries in the 6th round. Not to mention, I don't believe he will be in some sort of 50-50 divide once he's on his horse and moving. No one's pretending that he won't be eased in. We've said that the entire offseason. I've said it all offseason long. He could get 8 to 9 carries in week 1. He could get 10 carries in week 2. He could get 12 carries in week 3. It could be week 4 or 5, similar to last year's breakout, week 4 or 5, where he gets fully unleashed and he starts getting that 12 to 15 carries a game. And he's the future of this team, and he was everybody's top 5 running back just a minute ago. And now, because Dalvin Cook, who's an older player, who still has a lot of gas left in the tank, but he's definitely decreased in value. And there are some that say, there are a lot of people that said, oh man, he's lost it. Didn't you see him last year? He just didn't have quite the same step. There are a lot of people that said things like that. And now all those comments are just thrown to the wind. And it's like, now Dalvin Cook's this monster, this guy that's going to stay healthy. It's, I can't wait. I'm so excited to draft. To be honest with you, this is pumping me up. I'm not drafting. Like, let's say, let me put it this way too, for the people that think I'm doubling down or something, which I don't know why people would think that about me, because I'm I come in and I change directions very quickly. Like with the Najee Harris situation, how high I was in Najee, I was beating the Najee Harris drum more than anybody in the industry his rookie year, saying draft him number 10 overall, draft him number 10 overall. And then what ended up happening? The Liz Frank injury stuff came out his second year, and I was still on the Najee Harris train. What did I do? I jumped immediately off because I felt uneasy about it. I did not see this thing going well. I'm going to get to the super chats in 1 second, guys. Hang tight. But I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited about future drafts right now, because you're able to get Breece Hall in the 6th round. He's discounted maybe over half price. Unbelievable. That's the conclusion we're drawing here, is that he's half price. Okafor, I could understand if the reaction was, look, I'm a little concerned about the initial part of the season. I'm concerned that there'll be more of a split and maybe he won't earn 3rd round value. To come in and give you an honest perspective, this is truly honesty right here. If, let's say, his value didn't change and he was going at 3.3, 3.4, I might agree that I wouldn't take him at 3.1, 3.2, 3.4 anymore. That's where I'm trying to say that's my objectivity, is that the equation has changed, but the equation has changed in a way that he should be dropping into the 4.5 round range, not the 6 or 7. This is a gross overreaction.
No, 6, 7. Whoever said that is just being ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, the first running back on the board acted like he might drop it. It depends how people feel about Mixon and ETN. But the first running back outside of ETN, that's like in the committee is Aaron Jones. People will be juggling. Do I want Aaron Jones? Do I want Breece? I probably like the Jets offense better. So that's like beginning of the 5th round, I would say.
Yeah.
Like end of the 4th, beginning of the 5th.
And keep doing it, they're going to end up blocking you. But if you end up, if you come in here and you have a different opinion, it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. And on the phone line, I hung up on Avi. It's mostly in good fun. This is a show where I have a strong opinion. And, you know, that's the nature of this show. This is not a show where you're gonna have everybody come in and get a second place trophy, or if I'm strongly passionate about something and someone calls in and says something ridiculous to me, I might hit the disconnect button. It happens all the time. If this is too much for you, some people are saying that's disrespectful. This might not be the show for you. This might not be the show for you, because this is not some like pat everybody on the back. Let's give second place trophies out. Let's all have a real civil time. There's a lot of screaming and yelling that takes place here. There's a lot of differing opinions. It's the nature of the show. It's an exciting show to some people. Some people don't like it, and that's fine too. But I think Golf gives a really good point here, saying, Smitty, it's not happening. This is a small percentage of people overreacting, but the bigger percentage of it, aside from Avi and a few others, the bigger percentage of it is new people probably coming in looking for Dalvin Cook news because they're excited about Dalvin Cook.
Can I say why you're the best fantasy guy? It's because fantasy football is week to week, and you change your perspective, and that's what I love about you.
I appreciate that, Avi. I don't think this is one I'll be changing my tune on. I think everyone else is going to be changing their tune on Breece Hall. I think the people are going to swing back around to Breece Hall. And again, mostly because Hall is a steak dinner at value meal price, says J-Max. Mike, keep it up. And the mods are going to put you on a timeout, Mike. So just keep it up. Keep it up. Keep spamming the chat over and over and over. See what they do. Let me get through these super chats real quick, and then I'm going to hit the phone line. And I think, actually, Harrison, I just added you. Are you Harrison, the guy in the chat?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. Sorry. But yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes.
I
didn't understand you, but I'm in the chat, yeah.
What's your YouTube name in the chat?
My YouTube name in the chat?
Yeah, like what's your YouTube handle? I'm trying to figure out which.
Harrison Goated.
Okay.
Harrison Goated.
So the answer is yes. Okay, so go Harrison Goated. Go ahead. You were spewing a little hatred toward your boy, but go ahead.
I'm just excited. I think, let me preface this. I think Breece Hall's a really good football player.
His name's Breece Hall. You don't even know his name. You don't even know his name. You're down on a guy you don't even know what his name is.
Breece Hall is good. And I think Dalvin Cook's gonna come take his spot though.
Yeah.
You don't even know who it is though.
I do. I know Breece Hall.
Breece.
Okay.
It's Breece Hall,
All right, sorry. I'm sorry. This is my first year doing football.
Clearly.
That's cool.
But
Breece
hey,
Hall, I think, is really good. But I think Dalvin Cook's good too. I don't think Breece Hall is going to get the field much anymore.
Okay. Well, you let me hold your beer. You hold my beer, and I'll hold your beer too, and I'll drive on this one. Because Harrison,
I would consider taking Breece Hall in the 9th.
Breece Hall. You say it again. I'm hanging up on you, Harrison.
Sorry.
You don't even know his name. First of all, you're coming in here. You're coming in here with such a strong take, and you don't even know his name. You don't even know his name, bro. How can you give a fair assessment when you really don't know his name?
It's my first year.
I know it's your first year, but so let's.
He's trolling you.
Yeah, well.
Hang up on him.
Who's yelling? Who's yelling in the background? Who's that?
It's Stephen.
Oh, okay. Why don't you go real quick? Then I got to get to these super chats.
You talking about me?
Yeah, go ahead. You said it's what's your name? Stephen, right? Stephen.
Well,
okay. Stephen,
yeah,
go.
Yeah, you know
go ahead.
my name.
Go ahead, Stephen.
But yeah, no, I probably
agree on the take with the 5th round move. I actually just got him in a mock in the 5th round, but I watched Dalvin Cook like I'm a homer. I'm from Minnesota, and the eye test is still there. The only issues that I see are like the shoulder, like him, running into injury, but he's had that shoulder injury issue forever. But I see him being a huge problem for Breece Hall. But if you can get him in the 5th or 6th round, I think I'll take him.
And I'm okay with that take if that's the take. It's a take of concern. It's a take of caution. But the take I don't understand, and I will refuse to understand. It's not that you can't have the take, but the individuals that are like, I'm not drafting him. I think drafting Breece or Bryce or however you want to call him in this 5th or 6th round, this is madness, bro. This is madness. This is the part where it's like I'm shaking my head right now. People don't love him around 5, and he's probably falling around 6. A couple people saying I'd take him in 7, maybe. Like he's falling around between 5.5 and 6.5, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting a top 5 running back potential player that has some problematic obstacles in his way. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it or tell you differently, but to not see the value of getting a top 5 running back that does have obstacles in his way, to not see the value in the 5.5 to 6.5 range is crazy. Hang tight, callers, if you don't mind. If everybody can mute real quick. Terry, I'll let you go real quick because Terry's a Mars man. Terry, what's up real quickly? And then I'm going to hit these super chats so you can hang on the phone. But I want to get Terry's take real quick. Go ahead, Terry.
Hey, Smitty, I'm not too worried about Cook coming to the Jets because of his shoulder. But why is it that you're more worried about Elliott taking Stevenson's carries away more than Cook affecting Breece?
I don't know that I'm that much more worried about it. I think on my other live stream, I think I painted a pretty clear picture that I still very much love Ramondre Stevenson. He could be a 70 reception player. I just think that there needs to be a little reaction, a course correction for his ADP. Like maybe instead of the 3rd round, he goes at 4.4. So like a 1 round correction. And I think that Breece Hall is looking at a cutting in half type of correction. It's just it's a crazy difference. Not to mention, I think Breece Hall is a top 1 to 5 talent in the National Football League that will be slower getting going because of the ACL recovery and the fact that they want to ease him into it. But that doesn't mean that Breece Hall by week 4 or 5, which has been the original plan altogether, by 4 or 5 isn't on his horse like going and absolutely dropping wads all over the place. Does Dalvin Cook present a problem to where maybe Breece Hall doesn't end up doing as well as I want all year long? Yes, and that's why the course correction needs to be in place. But the slicing of the price, half price, I think that is a opportunity that I'm taking in 100 leagues out of 100. Hey, Terry, hang tight real quick. Let me get these super chats out of the way. Cook helps Wilson, says overcome with a $10 holler. Overcome to the moon. Appreciate you, Overcome. Thank you so much for dropping that. You are the man, the myth, the legend. Golf says it's not happening, Smitty. Appreciate your message earlier. Golf. D-Town says this is madness. I'm pretty sure D-Town is probably suggesting the overreaction. And again, there should be a reaction. $20 holler by Reebok. Reebok, you still here, pal? I'm sorry I didn't see this till right now. $20 holler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Reebok dropping a 20 spot. Reebok says, I've been talking up Aiden O'Connell for weeks. Better QB than Jerry O'Connell. Look, hey, Reebok, you got yourself a potential. The Patriots and the Raiders have a potential gem in the making in both O'Connell, who, we briefly mentioned like that Jimmy's a disaster, but maybe O'Connell comes in and saves, Devontae Adams' second half of the season or something. You're definitely going to start Jimmy. You're paying him. But O'Connell might be the real deal. I don't know if he's ever a top 5 quarterback or anything, but I mean, he could be like one of those Danny Dimes, Geno Smith, Goff type quarterbacks in the National Football League, We don't know, but we'll see. And I love the prospect that you got there, and that's potentially a saving grace for the team. Hopefully he gets in there sooner than later. And Malik Cunningham in New England, he's potentially a gem as well. Neither one's a lock. They could both end up busting. Look at Malik Willis, who we thought he could have some value. Sometimes it doesn't pan out, but definitely think it's time for you to get excited. Sounded like James Conner over Hall. Thank you for the $2 holler, Dales. I hope you're joking. Thank you for that super chat. Smitty, 549 people in here. Hit that like button. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you for dropping that super chat and being on the phone line right now. Isaac with a $5 holler. People need to get used to this new era of running back by committees. The bell cow era is ending. Folks need to get comfortable with the cuffing of running backs and leveraging. To a degree, I think that you're right, but because the running back's morphing into a weapon, they can survive it, I think is what people need to understand, is that a Jahmyr Gibbs in a sharing situation is getting so much PPR work that you don't want him to get 250 carries anymore. You want Jahmyr Gibbs to get the touches, and Breece Hall is going to be in a very similar situation where he's getting utilized in the passing game so much. He's going to be an absolute force once he gets out there and he's ready to go. And maybe that isn't week 1, 2, or 3 because of Dalvin Cook now. There's definitely more of a possibility that he doesn't get rushed along, even to the degree the Jets were going to, even though they were going to hold him back a little bit. Maybe they hold him back even more because Dalvin Cook's on the roster just to make sure their future asset is good to go. That's all something we're going to have to take into account. But at 5th or 6th or 7th round pricing, it's a little bit slower than we want, just as I just mentioned. By mid-season, or if this is Dynasty, you need to do this if it's Dynasty. By mid-season, I do believe Breece Hall will be on his horse, but so could Javonte. So that's a tougher question than Breece Hall or not Breece Hall. A lot of this has to do with Javonte Williams. So we'll have the chat vote on this one. Chat, do you like Javonte or Godwin or Breece Hall in redraft? Javonte is one of my favorite players I'm drafting right now. And he and Breece are probably going to go in the same territory right now. So part of me thinks, as much as I love Breece Hall, you're overpaying. Because Breece Hall, according to the chat, is going to freaking go right where Javonte's going. Javonte might get drafted over him. So you're definitely giving up too much fair market value according to the situation right now. 0 running back may be the way to go this season. It depends on your draft slot. It depends on who's on the board, but I absolutely love the Garrett Wilson stack. For those that don't know, now you know. Here it is. Take a look, absorb it, take it in. This is called the double-decker.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Amon St. Brown, Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2, the double-decker.
And there is something to, obviously, best player available is where you draft. But the two probably best strategies in fantasy football 2023, especially with Breece Hall now being in play in the middle rounds. Breece Hall is now in the middle rounds. He's now in round 5, 6, 7. It's hard to even fathom that. But your best approach, if best player available does fall properly, is to go double-decker type of draft, and or you take Bijan, and then you just start smashing the wide receivers and quarterback or whatever, and then later on you circle back for Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Jahmyr. You could technically get Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, and Breece Hall now without touching your top 2, maybe even three round picks. It depends on if you're drafting with grandmas and where Gibbs can go. But you could technically get Gibbs in some circles in the top of 4, still mid 4, top of 4. He's going in 3 more often than not. But I believe that I'm going to have a couple drafts where I have, as my 3 RBs, I'll have Gibbs, Walker, Breece Hall, and I'll have St. Brown and Garrett Wilson, or Jamar Chase and Garrett Wilson, or Jamar Chase and Olave and Gibbs and Walker and Breece Hall and Javonte, and have this enormous running back room that I spent not one top 24 pick on. So definitely the year of the wide receiver, and there'll be some draft strategy. I got about 4 videos lined up that I've moved forward on my docket because of all this information. That is going to be Kelsey round 1, wide receiver double-decker round 1, which again is right here.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Amon St. Brown and Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2, the double-decker.
So the double-decker, the wide receiver, the Bijan wide receiver, quarterback, those approaches are going to be on my, I would say, more utilized situations. Those will be the ones I deploy the most. And someone say something? All right. Just hang muted real quick. Let me get through these super chats. DJ Meat Missile says, just drafted Breece in the 6th round on Underdog. And that's going to be the initial reaction. Wait till the ADP adjusts to that territory. Then he's going to fall a little bit more. There's always a little bit of an adjustment, and then they fall a little bit more after that. So this is great news. This is great news. If you still believe in Breece Hall, and you should, this is great news. I think Hall drops further, but I still buy him, says Dallas. It's going to be unbelievable buying territory. Reaper, thank you for the super chat. Reaper says, rate my 10-man PPR, Smitty, Fields, ETN, Walker, Diggs, Sun God, Muth, benches, Carr, 8-Chain, Pierce, London, Pickens, Komet, AK, Alvin Kamara looks good, by the way. Fields, ETN, Walker, Diggs, Sun God, fantastic team, bro. I don't even know that you can make any moves right now. I assume that's Damian Pierce. Like London, Pierce, Pickens, and AK, you could potentially move some of those pieces. You could throw, I don't know that you can even upgrade much. Can you take ETN and turn him into Bijan? That's like the only thing that I'm thinking. Past that, ETN for Gibbs, maybe you can throw in. I don't even know that I don't even know if I'd do anything. You got such good depth, I'd probably just let this ride into week 1 and then try and maybe buy low on some players that are slumping. Some teams are just so well balanced, especially with players that I like, that I'm not looking to make moves. Peps fading Hall. Don't believe in Smitty. I don't know what that means, Wizard. If you're saying don't believe in Smitty, shame on you. If you're not saying that, I don't know. If you're saying somebody's saying that, shame on them. Cook's shoulder not ready to practice yet. No, he's not. He's not. He'll be able to practice in about a week, which is another thing no one's talking about, but okay. My grandma has a better shoulder than Dalvin, says Garrett. Thank you for your super chat. Sick Nasty calling in here saying, what's the Dynasty round recommendation for Hall? For Breece Hall? We got to let the dust settle, but it sounds like you're going to get him in 6. Which is just insane. It's a great day. It's a great day. A day I might not undo. A great day I might not undo if this button could undo it. And I know a lot of people don't understand that, but I'll explain it more and more. Don't worry, you're going to hear it a lot. Fun question, which running back cuff would you do based on similar scenario, Walker and Charbonnet or Hall and Cook? I would go probably, they're very close, man. They're very close. And Cook, to be fair, is as important to Hall as Charbonnet is to Walker. Because if, let's say, Breece Hall did go down, Dalvin Cook would be a potential top 12 running back. I think Breece Hall in that starting role is top 5 to 10. So Breece Hall is a whole level above him. But Dalvin Cook in that offense would still be super, super strong. Like super strong. So appreciate your super chat, Scotty. Thank you very much. Bryson says, from the team I told you last stream, today is Breece going to be good still. Stevenson too, remember. Okay, so Bryce says Stevenson and Breece Hall. You took hits. Like I said, you bought a shirt that went on sale half price the day after you bought it. It sucks about Breece. You overpaid. If you just would have drafted a day later, you would have got both these guys at a round discount for Ramondre. He would go around 4, I'd guess, top of 4. And Breece Hall's dropping to round 6. So the fact that you could have accumulated that and still now had 3rd and 4th and 2nd round picks, it's a shame. But I think your team will still be very good, but you can't sell them now. You've got to wait on that. Thank you for the $5 hauler, by the way. Devo dropping a $5 says, hey, Smitty, keeper league, would you keep Javonte or Kamara? Kamara killed me last year. I would keep Javonte, especially if there's remaining keeper value attached to it. And then Space Ricky saying, missing Ron Navy, lately hopeful as well. Yeah, throw some prayer emojis up for Ron Navy. Garrett, appreciate you saying, I give up Rashad. I received Breece. Smitty, I'm about to hammer this trade. I would take Breece Hall in a heartbeat over Rachaad White. I like Rachaad White a lot, but this is what I'm talking about. This is the overreacting Oscars are out today. I'm curious how high they push Cook's ADP. I know. That's another thing I wonder about. Thank you for the super chat, Joe. I wonder where Cook's ADP is going to go, because it's so funny that no one's scared about the timeshare he's in when he's in the same timeshare as Breece Hall. Like, that's the part that's so crazy to me. Is it's always the deflated balloon effect. You know, when somebody blows up a balloon and the expectation is big and something bad happens, it's not just deflating it, it's popping it. And the balloon's popped into 1,000 pieces. And that's the way it feels. But then in the case of Dalvin Cook, it's like his value is increasing. And he's in the same spot everybody's saying that Breece is in, that's making him devalued. It's crazy to me. Call me worried William and act like you're not concerned, but this is sure impacts Hall. Maybe proof they're not confident in his progress. James, you know, there's a lot of stuff that could come out that maybe there's some setback. We don't know, but we don't have anything to point toward that, so it's hard to assume that without being more reckless assuming it than not assuming it, if you know what I mean. And like I said, the feelings you're having right now, this is why I always talk about psychology and fantasy football and just the psyche, the mind, and the way the mind operates, and the what have you done for me lately, the foot in the door phenomenon, all the different things that are affected in fantasy football trading. And this right here, your level of expectation, and the last thing you heard, the recency bias, like all these different things that come into play. And what you're feeling is negativity that happened. The last thing that happened to you regarding Breece Hall is negative. So no matter what, you're pessimistic of his outlook just because it took a hit. But you can't look at what you paid because you're never going to get that value back. Even if you tried to trade him, you now have to trade him out. Look, Rachaad White pricing. Like, you can't trade him. So you got to accept that the situation is what it is. In future drafts, if you run away from Breece Hall at round 7 value, I believe you are running away from a league winner. If you run away from Breece Hall at 6.1 value, you're running away from a league winner. I'm going to be making offers for Breece Hall left and right. I'm going to be making offers for Breece Hall left and right because this is just crazy. James, I still appreciate you. And Warren says, you are the man, Smitty. Thank you, Warren. Appreciate your super chat. And let me just see if I've caught up on all these super chats, guys. Hang tight. We got Grant himself says, keeper league with the 10, 11 picks, keep CMC or Chase. You got to keep Chase, bro. I draft Chase number 1 overall in a PPR format. Absolutely love him. In a 0.5, I'd take him number 1 overall. I'm curious how high they push Cook's value up. I got to that one. Space Ricky, thank you. Devo, thank you for your super chat. Matthew, thank you for yours. Underdog, slow draft, 4.2. You prefer Hall or go Fields? I'd probably rather go... see, Hall's not going in the 4th round, bro. He's going in the 6th round. So I'm going to take Walker over Hall right now. Like, you're talking about taking Walker at 5.10. That's where you take Breece Hall. Now you can take, because Walker's value is going to climb a little bit based on the movement of running backs. I take Fields in a heartbeat over Hall. That's objectivity. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is I know people think I'm doubling down. My objectivity here is that Fields is more valuable by a country mile. And I love Fields. Fields is a league winner. Breece Hall cannot be drafted until 6.1 now. He can't. It doesn't matter how much I like him. The fair market value is telling you you're going to steal him away at least late 5th, 5.10 or 6.1 value. So you're going to play the odds game on Breece Hall before you ever draft him early. Like, the person that comes in here and goes, Smitty, I believe in Hall. I think you're right. I took him at 4.1. I'm going to tell them to take a lap. Because the landscape has changed, Matthew. The landscape has changed, and you get to steal Breece Hall away right now. And if I'm going to owners not paying 4.2 equivalent value, I'm going and paying late 5th, early 6th round value in trade offers. So definitely switch that up. That is not the way you want to attack that for sure. Cook helps Dalvin, says overcome. Again, appreciate your super chat. This one from Wesley, I think I got. No, maybe I didn't. F all this madness. If I see Breece in the 5th or 6th round, I'm taking him in a heartbeat. Jets are doing this and bringing him back slow. Breece to the moon. I agree with that take 1,000%. AJ Lancaster says, been fading Breece all offseason long. Now I'm buying, says AJ. You're a smart man to get in now. Overcome says, as Moses parted the Red Sea against the odds, so shall Lord Breece. Appreciate you, Overcome, dropping that. Danny says, Amon-Ra or Garrett Wilson with the 11 pick. I'm going to say I split this. If I had 2 leagues side by side, Danny, I'd take one on one and one on the other. Reebok, appreciate your $20 hauler. You're the man. Dale, appreciate you with the Connor and Hall joke. I hope you're joking. If not, take a lap. It's okay. Laps are good for you. Smitty, 149 people in here. Terry, appreciate that super chat. People need to get used to this new era of running backs. That was the comment by Isaac, and I agree that wide receiver is definitely the better, safer approach this year if best player available dictates it. Just did White for Breece in a 12-team PPR. I'm so pumped. That is an awesome trade to get Breece Hall at Rashad White pricing. Literally 2 hours ago, you couldn't even come close to getting giving up 2 Rashad Whites for Breece Hall. It's amazing what 2 hours can do. Javonte Godwin, again, the chat said you're overpaying, and I agree because of the fair market value of Javonte versus Breece right now. Zero RB, thank you very much, Isaac, for that super chat. DJ Meat Missile, thank you for your super chat. Dallas, appreciate your super chat. Reaper, appreciate your $5 hauler on this question right here. And it was rate your team. Your team's phenomenal. Again, some teams are just too good to move. Wizard, thank you for your super chat. Again, not sure if you were clowning on me or somebody else, but either way, I appreciate you dropping it. Cook's shoulder not ready for practice, says Salty Chopper. Again, I got to that one. Garrett says my grandma's better shoulder than Dalvin Cook. Sick Nasty, I think I got to yours. What's the Dynasty round recommendation for Hall? Maybe I didn't answer this one. And Hall in a 6th round in redraft. In Dynasty, I imagine, let me go to the phone line real quick on this one. Travis, if Breece Hall went from round number 3, let's call it, to round 6 or 7 in redraft, we know it's not going to be the same in Dynasty, but if people are willing to discard Hall for Cook this year, they can't be as excited about his future as we thought they were. So there's no way it just returns to like top of round 2. I kind of feel like people are fading Breece a little bit and saying maybe he's not the real deal or whatever. It would be ridiculous thinking for me, or to me, if someone's like, okay, Breece Hall around 6 or 7, but in Dynasty he's a top 10 back still, or top 10 player still. So I don't really know where his Dynasty value is going to go. This isn't where you rank him. This is asking where is the recommended draft value for Hall in Dynasty. And I think we need to do a Dynasty live stream on Hall tonight.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. The one pushback I will say with that, though, is I've seen a ton of people in the chat saying Breece Hall to the moon next year, Breece Hall great next year, buy Breece Hall for next year, Dalvin Cook this year. Like, all in for 1 year on Cook and then all in on Hall again. I've seen a ton of that.
It's weird to me. It's weird to me, bro. It's so weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
And, I mean, the other thing I would say is, like, I understand the Jets are, you know, people could say they're building a super team or however they want to put it, you know, trying to win a championship. That comes first. I get that. But they have to think about a future with Hall. And if you're just going to go, all right, Cook's the guy now, take a back seat even though you're 100%, he's not going to re-sign with them, or he could start holding out. I mean, that could cause problems in the locker room.
Look, here's my
bringing this guy out of nowhere.
Here's my educated guess, and again, it's a guess. I want to preface that. I think they talked to him, and they said that this is how I think. This is how I truly think it went down. This is just my guess. He walked in there. The crowd was chanting his name. They were excited to get him in. He's a big name. He's a big name. And to be fair, from a football perspective, it gives the Jets a Super Bowl chance this year because they're covered everywhere. Like, maybe they could even use like one more wide receiver to double down on that. Like, who the hell knows what they do there? Maybe they trade for somebody. It could be crazy, you know. But the Jets are saying we want no excuses, and we want Dalvin there in case Hall's not ready. We want Dalvin there until Hall's ready, and we want to have the best running back stable in the National Football League. And you can't really blame a team for wanting that. Like, I truly think I would consider it myself. If you took fantasy away from me, stripped it all away from me, and I was in charge of the New York Jets, and my objective was to win a Super Bowl, I'm being honest. I would very strongly consider signing Dalvin Cook. But here's what I think happened. My educated guess is that he went in, they gave him the treatment The fan base gave him the treatment. He was given the access around the field. He felt like a king. He felt the vibe. He wanted to be in New York. He saw Aaron Rodgers. He met with Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers is a GOAT. This guy's like, I'm going to win a Super Bowl here. I'm going to win a Super Bowl here, which is what a lot of players want when they're getting at the tail end of their career, even if you take away some of their workload. They're just like, give me a Super Bowl. I want a Super Bowl. So Dalvin Cook is getting the treatment. Then he gets to the boardroom after where they say, okay, Dalvin, now at the end of the day, come in here. Let's talk contract. And he sat down and they told him straight that this is my guess because of the way it went down. I've seen this happen for 20 years, so I have a pretty good estimation of how it probably went. And I could be wrong. But I think it probably went a little lesser of you're the guy, you're going to get a chance to start. It was probably, look, Breece is our future. Breece is our now, but we need to protect our now. And we really need you to kind of supplement until he's ready to go. And even when he's ready to go, you're going to be heavily involved in the offense. And that's that. I think they offered him a significant amount of money. And I don't know if they came at him with some kind of increase, because this seems like a deal he would have signed immediately. Like if they offered him $8 million, he would have signed, because the market was, what I think happened is once that Zeke Elliott contract came in for, what was it, $6 million? I think he pressed the button.
Yep.
I think he said, oh my God, like I better take this before, because they probably upped the offer, and he smashed the button and went to New York. So do I think the Jets overpaid for a commodity they didn't necessarily need? Yeah, but they're also trying to secure, and they know that the running back, the Aaron Jones hybrid player, is so important to Aaron Rodgers' success, they had to make sure they doubled down on it. I'm not saying that Cook can't be a top 12 running back if he's starting. He certainly could. Charbonnet could be a top 10 to 12 running back if he's starting. That's why this cuffing situation is very, very identical in some ways. But dynasty-wise, I mean, let's ask who's on the phone line here. Let's ask Carl, who we haven't talked to yet. Carl, where do you draft Breece Hall in dynasty versus redraft? Tell me both. Tell me where you draft both of them, or both values.
I would honestly Breece, and I heard you say fourth is not great, but I kind of do like fourth. I'll do fifth at the very latest. And dynasty, fourth as well.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I don't think he'll fall to the fourth in dynasty. I think it'll be top of round 3. But who the hell knows, bro? I clearly don't have a pulse on where the mob is thinking on this one, which doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. I clearly did. I knew we'd get some crazy reactions, and we also have even right now we have 430 people in here. We don't know how many people, because some of the people that are freaking out are regulars, but they're not freaking out as much as some of the random new people, which we appreciate, and hit that subscribe button. You found your new home for daily NFL content. But I just feel like we're seeing an inappropriate sample of our community reacting, and we're thinking that our community's like more down on them than they are. Like I think it was Golf that said that. But I still think that it's hard to have a pulse on the dynasty value, to be honest, because if people are willing to discount him in redraft so severely to half price, like put him in the 6th round, then how can they in good conscience come back and say, oh, well, but I love him though, and he's a top 12 overall player. Like if you felt that way, he would nudge Cook aside at some point this year. So we'll have to see.
I think it might be kind of hit or miss all over the place. I don't have a ton of experience in dynasty, so I'll say that up front. But I think it could be hit or miss.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I gotta get ready for a draft.
Okay, so, Terry, where do you draft Hall in dynasty? Where are you drafting him?
In dynasty, I still draft him in the 1st round.
That's too high. Yeah, don't do it. Hey, Terry, make sure, and it's not too high because he can't earn it. It's because the fair market value will laugh at you, and you got to take advantage of that. Tonight, don't draft Hall before round 5, Terry. But take advantage if he drops.
Yeah, and Stevenson too. So.
All right, later, Terry.
Good luck. Thanks for all your.
Yeah, Terry, appreciate you. Yeah, guys, here's the honest truth. If I'm on the clock right now and Breece Hall is sitting there in the third round, I'm not taking him. I'm not taking him because you don't need to anymore. And if he goes, he goes. Like, that's the odds game you're now going to play. That's the new odds game that is forever in your favor.
Well, one thing I was going to say is this news. There's no excuse now for someone not to be able to build a really good running back room with the way. I know, like you said, Walker might jump up a little bit and guys will shift, but with the amount of guys, Walker has fallen, Hall's fallen. People aren't quite on Herbert yet. They're not sure what to think of him. You can get Pacheco a little bit later. There's so many good backs that have kind of fallen beyond that third round. There's no excuse not to have a good running back room.
Joe says he's not moving in Dynasty. I think he will move, but I don't know that he's going to move as much as people think. I agree with that. Hunter says Waddle or Mike Evans and Gibbs. Give me Mike Evans and Gibbs all day because I honestly would draft Gibbs alone over Waddle. And I'm in the minority there because Waddle's going in round 2, and I don't think he should be. I would take Gibbs and Evans all day long. It doesn't mean I wouldn't try and flip Evans into like an Olave or Christian Watson or something, though. Hey, Smitty, so I got Breece, ETN, and Mixon, half PPR Dynasty with one running back and one flex spot. Should I not start Breece the first week or two? We got to wait until we see what's what, Kerry, because maybe he doesn't get much work on week 1. And that wasn't in the plan until Dalvin Cook landed on the roster. The plan may have changed. And like I said, we could be surprised that, okay, week 1, 2, 3, 4, he doesn't get what we want. And people are going to freak out. And he's going to be so cheap. I almost guarantee you, I hope I'm wrong because I want him to go nuts the first week too, but he's probably not going to. But I almost guarantee you that on the buy low, sell high list, Breece Hall will be on it for like 3 straight weeks. We'll come out of week 1, buy Breece Hall. Come out of week 2, buy Breece Hall. Come out of week 3, buy Breece Hall until it's no longer in play anymore. I can see it now. I can see it now. So, Kerry, we got to wait and see. Appreciate your $5 hauler for sure. Dynasty round recommendation. Thank you, Sick Nasty, for dropping that. We got a $10 hauler. Matt O with a $10 hauler. All $10 haulers get a moonshot. Appreciate you, Matt O, for dropping that super chat. Matt O says, Ziggy, show me the front door. Smitty, get your PhD in psych. Could be related to fantasy football. Interesting, my dissertation. Cook simply insurance for Hall. Thank you. Dr. Smitty has a nice ring to it. Thank you, Matt. I probably won't ever go to school again. I went twice. I went to ASU twice. I got an undergrad in psych. I got a master's in digital audience journalism school. And I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to school again. That would take me forever to get through that. But that would be interesting to do it. I just don't need it though. I don't need it. It's not gonna help me any. I got my career underway. So, but it would be funny. It would be funny to do dissertations on psych and all that, or on fantasy football and in the mindset. But I do that every day pretty much with the psych degree that I have. And like, I'm not saying that other people don't have good psych knowledge, just from taking a couple psych classes. You can. Everybody can learn from psychology. You can read a book. You don't even have to go to school to learn about the different ins and outs of the mind and how people react to things. The foot in the door phenomenon for trading. The fact that I could go to Travis right now and say, hey, Javonte Williams. Oh, never mind. He had the ACL tear, right? Yeah. ACL tears. I'm not going near running backs with ACL tears. So what are we doing for lunch over there? And then now Travis is like, well, wait a minute. He wants to prove to me that Javonte Williams is worth trading for. There's so many tricks of the trade, of trading, planting seeds, fantasy football 101, trade 101. We do it all a lot here. I need to create more videos on it. But there's so many ways to trade. This whole, hey, Travis, what do you want for Javonte Williams? Guess what Travis is going to do? I don't want to trade him. So, Scotty Do, more and more teams using running back duo. Sad face in the NFL. Hardly see any workhorses anymore. This sucks, Smitty. Also, pray for Maui. Yeah, Scotty Do and the Hawaii boys. I appreciate you guys. I hope you're both doing well. Scotty Do and Gustavo. Is Gustavo okay? Let us know if Gustavo's okay. Thank you for the $5 hauler. Throw some prayer emojis up for our Hawaii viewers right now. Going through a whole lot. Harrison says I skipped his super chat. Harrison. Harrison said I skipped his. He said, wait, hold on one second. Breece Hall again. There he goes. He is trolling. Breece Hall off the Marsman list. Thank you for the super chat, but the answer is no, and it will remain no. I'm sorry. Who was talking just now?
Hey, Smitty.
No, hold on. Let me get to the individual who just was asking the question real quick. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I'm in a win now team, and I'm trying to flip Pollard for Breece Hall, and I'm trying to see what the value is, the value difference between Pollard and Hall. I have Gibbs, so this would be like a running back 2 situation, and I have enough running back depth to to deal with Breece Hall's injury or whatever may happen. So what do you think the value difference between Pollard and Hall is in a dynasty perspective?
Pollard and Hall from a dynasty perspective. Ziggy off. I think it's not as far off as you might think. However, I don't know because like I said, I walked into this room and I'm still kind of unaware of what the true our community vibe is, because we have 435 people. Usually we have about 300, 250, 300. And I love every new viewer. We just hit 20K today. We're rising up. So hit that subscribe button. Do your part. This is your show too. I work for you guys. And I'm out here doing news. I'm breaking the stuff. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I ruffle feathers. Sometimes I'm going to be wrong twice in a row. I'm going to be right 5 times in a row, wrong twice in a row. I don't hit everything. That's for certain. And I do my very best to be unbiased. But I believe I'm coming with an unbiased angle here, even though some people think I'm not. I am having a tough time trying to figure out where everybody's at on this because it just happened and I went live. I didn't even digest it. I just basically went live. So I'm reacting live with you guys too. Sometimes I might come in here and react, and then when I leave, I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling a little different now because I literally do it on the fly, So like I'm a human being. So is there a possibility I like Breece Hall less in an hour from now? I suppose there's a possibility, and I'll tell you. I'll be honest about it. But I don't think so. I think I'm looking at this extremely objectively, and I think I'm saying to myself, I think I've been very honest saying that if let's say the ADP didn't move, let's say I was in a locked room and I had no idea what the masses was thinking, and I was on the clock at 3.1 where Breece Hall was going hours ago, would I take him at 3.1 with the Dalvin Cook signing? No. Like, that's my honest take. It's not that I don't think he could earn that, but I would think to myself 2 things. One, I don't know how the world's going to react to this. I'm probably going to get him in 4 now. That would have been my initial blind reaction to it. And I didn't expect that he'd fall not only to 5, but probably 6, and in some cases 7, from what people are saying in the chat. So I totally misjudged how knee-jerk reaction people were going to be on this topic. And the bottom line is this. Pollard's got more value. He's got more value. And it's probably a round apart in Dynasty. It's probably, I would say, 4 rounds, if not 4.5 to 5 rounds apart in redraft. Like, what a difference a day makes, as they say. I mean, goodness gracious. And for good reason he drops, but not more than a round in redraft. And definitely not at all really in Dynasty, because if you used your assessment properly, if you use your skills to evaluate this kid, you didn't come to a conclusion he was a top 5 running back because he played for the Jets. You came to the conclusion because of the sum total of the situation, but mostly because we watched him dominate the NFL and become arguably the number 1 running back in the National Football League before he tore his ACL. And yes, he tore his ACL. I'm not an idiot, but every ACL is different and everybody tries to act like it's not. And this guy's so far advanced from where Barkley and JK were in week 1, and he's got 25 plus days to go. Imagine what we're going to hear 3 weeks from now when they say this guy looks 100%. Remember I said we'd hear that about Breece Hall? We heard it about Javonte, and Javonte had bad reports a month and a half ago. It was like, we don't know if he's going to be in the PUP. He might. We hope he's not. Probably not going to tell you anything. This is Sean Payton's out of Sean Payton's mouth. And now all of a sudden, everybody's saying miraculous, looks 100%, doesn't look like he suffered anything. And Breece Hall and Javonte are both young guns ready to take the league by storm, changing of the guard. And I'm thrilled and excited to have this guy on all my rosters. Hang tight. Let me get these super chats off the board, and then we should be there. Kendall, Breece Hall. Okay, thank you, Harrison. Harrison is just, I don't know what Harrison's doing. He's just trying to, I don't know what he's doing. Only have Kincaid as my tight end. Should I look to trade? You just want to back him up. I don't know if I look to trade necessarily. Like, is Taysom Hill out there? Is Cole Kmet out there? But you definitely need a second tight end because it could take him. He might not do anything in week 1. Like, Kincaid could be a week 5 on guy. We've talked about that over and over. Corey for the $10 holler gets a moonshot. Corey says, Smitty. He says, Smitty. Had to school one of my leagues trying to make a trade. They tried Diggs and Kelsey and Deontay Johnson for Adams, Kittle, and MVS. Yeah, that's a pretty bad trade. People need to get educated and follow your show. Appreciate you, Corey. I don't know if you have vetoes in your league. Vetoes are a tough thing to handle, though. They are tough because, technically speaking, I'm not into vetoes, but if you have a veto process, and everybody knows that up front, then it is what it is, and it's par for the course. Sometimes you got to have like some controls if you have a bunch of guys that don't know what they're doing, and sometimes you can't find great league mates to fill every spot. Not everybody's that fortunate to have a bunch of people that are going to jump in the league. So I do understand why vetoes are present sometimes. Smitty, any news on Kareem Hunt's visit to the Vikings? I've been live, so I don't know. Is anybody on the phone line knows like some update other than, we're waiting to find out like what's up. Let me go to the news wires and take a look. NFL running back Alex Collins died at the age of 28. That's sad. Alex Collins, remember the running back for the Ravens? Man.
Yeah.
I don't know what he died from, but Alex Collins, running back for the Ravens. That is very, very sad news.
So sad.
Yeah. Too young, man. Dang. 28 years.
He won me a fantasy game on Monday Night Football.
Yep, I remember that. That game.
That's sad, man.
Against the Steelers, he went off.
He was the guy that did ballet with his daughter to get more athletic and agile.
Man, that's sad. Alex Collins. I remember he had some upside at one point where we're like, hey, this guy could be something good, and he helped out a couple games, like Avi said.
The Ravens.
That sucks, man. Any news on... Okay, so Collusion, thank you for the super chat. Kilpatrick says, Dynasty QB Superflex startup 12-man 10 pick. I went Fields, Garrett Wilson, Kenneth Walker, London, Watson, Ridley, Miles Sanders, Charbonnet, Waller, Sam Howell. Very good job. I assume you missed out on like A-Rod and Love, but bro, you couldn't have done better with what you had. And I like Sam Howell enough to take the chance on beefing up the rest of my team the way you did. This is a phenomenal start and a $10 moonshot to the moon. Dropping that, and I would draft that team all day long. So I love it. I think you did a fantastic job. Nathan with the $10 moonshot to the moon. Thank you, Nathan, for the $10 hauler. All $10 haulers get moonshots. Nathan says Dalvin is arguably better than Breece, despite how we might feel after the hype train. This could easily be 50-50 split, and Rodgers will probably prefer the vet presence. Nathan, appreciate your $10 hauler. I disagree that he's better. I know Avi said that. He shares that sentiment with you, but I think that Breece Hall is going to... I mean, there's a lot of players like that right now in the news. Fields, everybody doubted Fields. Remember, Fields isn't good. Fields isn't good, and there's still a lot of people saying that after 2 touchdown throws and over 100 yards on three attempts. Oh, the offensive line did the blocking, Smitty. Now everyone's complaining about Fields' weapons. Now he has blocking. Now he has weapons, and now when the weapons score, it's not Fields' doing that they scored 2 touchdowns on 3 plays. So it's a lot of negative Breece content coming, or reactions coming, and a lot of, unfortunately for the people that hate Breece Hall right now or think he's garbage or whatever, you're gonna get a lot of content from me on Breece Hall moving forward because he's gonna be a buy until I'm gonna beat the drum until the drum busts into a million pieces. Breece Hall is a steal anywhere near 6th round territory. But Nathan, I appreciate you. I think it could very well be a 60-40 split in week 1 in favor of Dalvin Cook. Like, I'm not worried about that. Coming out of week 1, 2, 3, Breece Hall will probably be my highest buy player, and it'll be on the buy low, sell high list all first quarter of the season probably. Nathan, thank you for the super chat. And the final super chat at the moment, at least, then I'm going to circle back to the phone lines real quick, who all you guys have been waiting patiently. $20 hauler from Michael.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Michael to the moon. Thank you, Michael. Michael says 10-man dynasty half PPR. Would you trade Treylon Burks and a first round 2023 for Olave? Absolutely would. For me, I would, unless it's like the 1.1 or 1.2 and you know that. But if it's like a mid to late, and it's definitely like mid to late, but not like super early. And even if it was super early, I'd consider it, because Olave, to me, if you threw him into the player pool next year, would go in the top 4, top 3. That's how much I love Olave. My team is Burrow, Gibbs, Pacheco, Garrett Wilson, Addison, Christian Watson. I definitely would do it in your situation too, because you have the ability to win now if you put him in your lineup. So absolutely appreciate you. Appreciate your super chat. Collusion dropping a $5 hauler, says, I think Jets made a knee-jerk decision after the Zeke deal. They didn't want to lose Cook. I think there's something that happened with that contract. Yeah, and I think Dalvin punched it. And maybe they upped the deal after that Zeke offer was $6 million, and they were offering him $6 million. And they probably said, look, Cook is another year more than Zeke in a way. So they said, let's up it. And then Cook just pressed the button. So I agree with you on that one. But it doesn't change my opinion. But look, it is what it is. I'm not drafting Breece in round 3 anymore. So that's irrelevant. We're drafting him in 6. Let me go around to the phone line. Let me see who hasn't talked yet. Stefan, go ahead, bro. And then Cub.
Okay. Smitty.
Yeah.
I have, this is controversial, and I just want, you to keep an open mind, as you do. But I honestly think, Breece should be off of the, Marsman list. I mean, you made the mid-season monsters list. He seems primed for that. Looking at Dalvin, he's younger than Alvin Kamara. Different situation, obviously. But I don't think Breece, I've heard the comparison between, him and AP when he had the ACL and came back and killed it. He's not the same player. AP's got, those Bo Jackson genes.
No, I think. Okay,
Go ahead.
So first of all, let me just say, I think it's unfair to suggest that AP did what he did, then no one else can do that. Not saying that Breece will run for 2,000 yards. Clearly, in this situation, he can't, because now he's got competition. But I think when people say you can't use the AP situation, but then you can use JK and Barkley and use all these bad examples, I think it's unfair to the player who's so ahead of the game, so ahead of the rehab. And that's what it is. There's so many components to a good ACL recovery, because a lot of it's compensation. No one's saying, and a lot of it's can they get up and have the burst and get going? J.K. Dobbins didn't have the burst. Barkley didn't have the burst. The reason they didn't have the burst is because they were barely ready to even cut, and they went onto the field. And when you do that, when you have an ACL tear, your knee is not ready. Your knee has all this cartilage that's hasn't been cut on in forever. It has all this repair, all this atrophy that you're building back from. And so you get there, you get the strength up, but you haven't tested it, and it's mental. And so when Barkley's barely cutting hardcore a week before week 1, his mind isn't there. So when he's cutting, he's going to hold back. When you hold back, you tear your hamstring or you pull your hamstring, because you're trying not to put all your force on your bad knee and you're cutting. So it's not that, and you can't get there when you're working through all that to try and get up to normal speed and get your burst back. If Breece Hall, like Javonte, and Javonte's there, if Breece Hall in 25 something days is able to get that mind and cutting situation under control and trusting it, he's already got the explosiveness. And believe me, as an ACL tear recovery person, I can tell you, when I was not 100%, there's no way in hell I was running 23 miles per hour. You can't run 23 miles per hour if your knee is still jacked up at all. The thing is that he's got to work through is the trust in cutting, which he has. Again, and he was running 23 miles per hour, weeks ago? So he's had well over a month from the report that he was running 23 miles per hour, the report that he was going to have a well over a month. It was like a month and a half to learn to cut and to get trusting of that cutting motion so that he doesn't create the compensation injury. So many people just think that you can't come back from an ACL tear in your first season. You're going to be behind, and it's a misnomer, or it's a falsehood It's not an accurate depiction of a recovery process for somebody that's well ahead of schedule, to the point where, is he going to be 100%? No, because every day he's going to get stronger. And you see somebody like Barkley right now. Barkley is 100%. Okay, he looks 100%. Breece Hall will get there a full year after, but Breece Hall could be at 95%. And 95% Breece Hall, 92% Breece Hall initially, as he inches closer to 100%. Maybe by end of the season he's 99 to 100. But as he inches closer, he'll get some of those things back that he isn't able to utilize, but he'll still be effective. And he's also going into a different system that's going to accommodate and maybe wash out the difference of being able to do this and do that by having this and that added to his potential, output. Because now he's got Aaron Rodgers that's going to facilitate. Breece Hall is going to have a much more stretched out field and open rushing lanes and receiving lanes. And so these dump offs to Breece Hall, which he's so famously good for, in a very short period of time became what arguably could have been the best receiving back in the National Football League. This man had a 100-yard receiving game. And not to mention, this man had 72 yards and a touchdown essentially on 2 carries. He tore his ACL in the 3rd carry, but in 2 carries, he's a playmaker. And once Aaron Rodgers dumps off to this guy, he catches a football and takes it 40 yards downfield. There you have 5 points right there. Like, he's going to accumulate and do very, very well, and he's going to be a little bit of a disappointment to people that expect him to get 15 carries in week 1. Okay, so addressing your point, taking him off the Marsman list and putting him on the midseason monsters. It's an understandable point and take, and I can understand it. And I could actually contemplate that, but I am going to leave him on the Marsman list. Maybe I change my mind. I might even add him to the midseason monsters list anyways, but I'm going to leave him on the Marsman list because people have been on different lists before at the same time. I think because this is what the Marsman list is about, bro. In fact, you know what? I'm taking him off the Marsman list and I'm putting him back on because he's a different player now. You know what I'm saying? No. Who's laughing? Oh,
that's me. I was laughing at the.
No. Look. This is like I said with Kenneth Walker. Okay, Charbonnet got drafted. Boo-hoo. Stop crying, everybody, and realize Kenneth Walker has a new 4th round, 5th round value. So you walk out of the room. You come back in with a different angle, and you say to yourself, "Wow, Kenneth Walker, you sure look different. You look great, man. You lost some weight. You look spry. Your 4th round value, you look like a gem." So, in a sense, you're correct. Maybe I'll do a show where I take him off the Moonman list and then immediately add him back on and say, guess what? Breece Hall in round 6 is a different kind of Moonman than Breece Hall in round 2, 3. So, if anything, he's Marsman. He's even more Marsman material than before. So I'm not going to take him off. I understand where you're coming from, but you have to look at, is Breece Hall in round 6 better value than Breece Hall at 2-3? Just answer that question.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so why would I take him off the Marsman list? You know what I'm saying? That's where my mind goes to, bro. It's all about value.
Can I rebuttal?
He's a Marsman. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my take on moving him from the Marsman list to the midseason monster is he's already a moon man, and in addition to that, if you look at the Marsman list, do you see all these variables, introduced into our equation that get someone to Mars? Do you see those like you do with everybody else on the Mars list?
Can you imagine if your wives are walking by right now and you're just sitting there like, who are you talking to, Smitty? Do you think if we put him on Mars and we took him off Mars, but do you think the components are there for the gigawatt flux capacitor structures for this man to be Moon/Mars, or are we sending him to somewhere in between? Your wives are going to tell you, you need to stop watching this show. What in the hell are you doing over there? You're giving money to this man? Is this one of those churches? Is this a cult? Like, what's going on here? What's going on over here? Look, I made the Marsman list, so I fully know why someone cracks the Marsman list. And I'll tell you that it's this simple. If this player can outperform his ADP or be so valuable that you win a league, and more so than any other player that I can come up with, that makes you a Marsman. That makes you a Moonman. That makes you a category or a certain category of player that is undeniable. And I just asked you the question, and you said yes. I said, is Breece Hall more valuable in 6th round than he is in the and let me rephrase this, because you might have been answering it a certain way. Was Breece Hall before Dalvin Cook signed better at 3.5, let's say, or is Breece Hall right now with Dalvin Cook there better at 6.5? What is the better gamble or better upside risk to ratio, to reward ratio?
Well, if I can get Breece Hall in 6, like, I'll take him all day. I just don't see that happening.
Why? Everybody in here is
players that I would.
Everybody in here is telling you it's happening, bro. On Underdog, you're seeing him in the 6th round right now. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, by the way. Sign up right now. Underdog Fantasy, we're hearing reports right now from our own people in there. Just got him in 6th round. Just got him in the 6th round. Breece Hall, 6th round. Like, so what I'm telling you, he couldn't be more Marsman material now. This is why I say, you walk out of the room, you come back in, and you say, goodness gracious, Breece Hall, you look good. What have you been doing? You been lifting, bro? You look good in your 6th round value. That's what the Marsman list is about. He is so much more Marsman.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If we're, like, let's say, because I don't see him falling in that or fall into that in 10-man league, which is what I'm drafting in. I don't think I'd take him. And, like, let's say the dust settles, everybody's, panic mode stops, and his ADP is 4th round. Is he a moon man?
We'll address that when it comes. You're throwing a lot of hypotheticals at me.
Marsman.
We also have to know what's the value, how does he feel, how does he look. You're asking me a hypothetical that has so many moving parts to it that it'd be unfair for me to answer that without knowing what the health report is. How is he doing? Is he cutting?
1 week at a time.
Yeah. So finally something I agree with Avi on. 1 week at a time is a good point, but he's a Marsman. He's more of a Marsman today than he was yesterday. Let me put it that way. Because now in the 6th round, I am blasting people to pieces with Breece Hall. Breece's pieces in round 6. Just unbelievable. People are going to get breeced more than before.
Get breeced.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the 6th round.
Well,
like, I'm drafting, and I'm not seeing it.
Well, I mean...
he goes 6th round.
We're getting reports on it, so... let me go over to...
But is that an anomaly?
No. Bro, haven't you been reading the chat? People are going crazy. We have people saying they wouldn't take him in 7. So, we'll see, bro. We'll see. We'll take it, like Avi said, we'll take it day by day, if not minute by minute, hour by hour. Let me go over to Cub. What's up, Cub?
Yeah, so I think you had a question about the Dynasty. I think I just did one like a week ago. Went like 310. I'm guessing that probably now he'll probably be like a 4th, probably mid-4th.
You think who will be a 4th?
I'm going down with the sprained ankle, and now the potential of them actually really getting a little bit more serious with Kareem Hunt. If Kareem Hunt goes there, like, are you?
I'm not following what player. I'm not following what player you're talking about.
The Kendrick Miller got his ankle sprain.
Oh, you're talking about the Saints.
Last preseason.
Okay.
Yeah. Kendrick Miller, and then they were really serious about bringing Kareem Hunt, and I think after that they bring in Kareem Hunt. So, what's your thoughts on if Kareem Hunt does get signed by the Saints?
Guys, I'm gonna get to the super chats in a minute, so hang tight. I think they strongly want to bring someone in, obviously, because of Kendrick Miller getting injured. But I think if Kareem Hunt goes, the thing we heard all off season long by multiple people was that Kareem Hunt was clearly lost a step. And I think that's why he hasn't signed anywhere. I still think he's talented. I still think he's got a little juice left to be a change of pace role type of guy. But I don't think he's stepping in and becoming some sort of starter for anybody. But let's say Alvin Kamara, after his 3-game suspension gets injured or something, and Jamal is injured, like Hunt would be a good fit for them if Kendray's gone. I mean, he'd be the best option they'd have. So I think they're trying to plan ahead for that, because Kendray getting hurt and Kamara being, out for 3 games, that puts the Saints in a little bit of a bind. So they're definitely looking to maybe make a move, but I don't know that there's a threat at all. I think Kamara looked fantastic. If anybody watched the game, he looked explosive. He was catching the ball. He was running the ball. They were feeding him like crazy. He was literally he looked like McCaffrey in terms of the usage of the drive. The drive was all Kamara. It was a Kamara drive. And so that's got to excite you.
3-game suspension's going to help him. It's going to help him.
I mean, maybe, but all I know is that we cleaned up on the Alvin Kamara underdog fantasy promo code Smitty drafting. We truly did, because he cost us almost nothing. He's 7th, 8th, 9th round player, and he might just end up being at the end of the day like a top 35 overall player, maybe top 30. I mean, he could be. I'm not saying he will be, but he could be. He looked electric. He looked explosive. They were utilizing him. I get it was a preseason game, but he looked the part. He looked like the Alvin Kamara of old. There was nothing like, oh, he lost a step. He was explosive. And I don't know that he lasts all year long. He's an older running back as well, but the fact that he's not starting the first 3 games of the season might make him have that shorter season that he's capable of pulling off. And so Alvin Kamara, especially in best ball where you don't have to make those decisions, if he goes down, you got another player that can go in and outscore him in that mid-game. Pacheco is your backup, and Pacheco has 100 yards and a touchdown, and Alvin Kamara tears something in week 10. And week 10, you'll be fine, because best ball, it all handles that for you. Let me circle on over to a couple of you who have been waiting. Actually, I got some super chats I got to get to real quickly. Hang tight. Then I'm going to Scuba Steve. Then I'm going to Scared Scott. Then I'm going to circle around and kick everybody off the phone line and get some dinner. So let me get to these super chats real quick. Corey says, had to fight off the commish for making the trade and him fighting with everybody sketchy, says Corey. Bad trades are always, creating drama in leagues for sure. Hall won't make it to the 6.12, the 1.1 draft slot. Drafters lose another running back opportunity. The draft has become an issue. Gibbs at the 3.1, almost a must. I think G-Men we're going to have to see, and thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Rush Inclusion. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, everybody that dropped the super chat. I think we're going to have to see where, Breece Hall was going around Gibbs and those RBs, so we're definitely going to see Gibbs move up, unfortunately. We're going to see Pollard move up. But we also got great news today, and Zeke Elliott and Cook both finding teams that were not the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Pollard's season is in full effect, and Deuce Vaughn is one of the best handcuffs in fantasy football. I need to do a handcuff video, by the way. Let me write that down. We need a handcuff video for sure, because, we got to kind of prioritize what are the best handcuffs. Is it Charbonnet? Is it Dalvin Cook? Or some would say Breece Hall? Is it what's the best cuffing situation in football? There's a lot of good cuffs. There's a lot of good combos. Pacheco, McKinnon, even though McKinnon's not even really the cuff, Monty and Gibbs aren't really cuffs. It's like they're standalone players. McKinnon's a standalone player. You can literally draft McKinnon and start him in week 1. You don't have to wait for an injury for Pacheco, but they're still very tied together, and McKinnon's workload goes up if Pacheco goes down. So it is treated like a cuff to me, and I'll explain that in the video. But yeah, G-Man, I don't disagree with you. Gibbs is moving to the top of 3 very, very soon, if not right now. And I would take him at 3.1 without hesitation if I was in that position. Appreciate your super chat. All right, let's go over to Scuba Steve and then Scared Scott. Scuba, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, Smitty? Before I get to my question, because you were talking about how you had to do that video, do the video for the handcuffs. I think Devon Achane might be a guy that could be a nice little handcuff, just because the 2 guys that are in front of him are injury prone. So you don't even know when those guys are actually gonna come in. So this guy could end up he could just end up walking into an opportunity where he ends up getting all the carries.
A-Chain, yeah, I like A-Chain a lot. I think A-Chain's a good player. He's kind of standalone, though. I don't even know if I'd call him a cuff. I don't think I want to draft any of those Miami running backs. So I think that while you're correct in assessing him, I'm not drafting any of those guys, and I'm just drafting, A-Chain. I'm just drafting Chase Brown. I'm not drafting Mixon because Mixon's going to be a guy that climbs up. By the way, guys, he's right where Hall's value is, and I'm already so off the Mixon train, the JT train. JT and Mixon get vaulted up. Maybe Gibbs does too. Hopefully Gibbs is like right below that cutoff or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But my question is, because you're talking about JT, it's I noticed that I think it's I want to say the guy's name right, Evan Hall. I think that guy's getting like a lot of traction. Do you think that that's somebody that anybody look at? Is he like a free guy? Is he anybody like we should look at when it comes to like the draft?
I mean, I think JT comes. I mean, he's okay. He's okay. He's no different to me than like, let's say, Roshan, Chase Brown. I think he's got that kind of appeal. I might put him below both those guys. I got Deuce Vaughn ahead of him by far. So that's kind of, I think, where I take that. But certainly can't fault anybody for saying, hey, JT's injured. What if JT comes back and he's not ready and then he gets injured again and he has a setback? Like, if anybody thinks this JT situation doesn't smell like a like week 2, week 3, he's not playing, and then week 4, there's some sort of injury, he needs surgery and his season's over. You know what I mean? Like, if anybody thinks it doesn't have that vibe to it, this JT situation is the biggest avoid. JT and Mixon, JT more than Mixon. JT is the biggest avoid in fantasy football right now, just without a doubt, without a question. And if anybody feels different, speak up. I'd be glad to discuss it with you. And I respect your take, but there's so many red flags to the situation. It's not even close. He's such an injury risk, and this Hall and Cook situation might vault him up.
Well, I was just gonna say. Smitty, just gonna say, as you're saying that, so ESPN's doing like their fantasy marathon thing, and Adam Schefter is promoting that Jonathan Taylor, if he ends up getting traded, that he could be a league winner for everybody.
Well, Schefter, is Schefter. He's good at the news, but the opinion stuff is not always his forte. But I would say this. I would say that. Yeah, if he gets traded, just like Jacobs, if his franchise tag gets rescinded, then he could become a league winner. But these are big what ifs, and we don't know. We've heard that the Raiders are not rescinding the franchise tag, which would make Jacobs a free agent. We're also hearing that JT is not getting traded. And the owner, Irsay, said, we're not trading him. End of discussion. Not now, not in October, not never. He was very clear about it. And we could assume he's lying. But JT's also injured, so no one's going to come and knocking for a player that has potentially 2 injuries. One of which JT said in a tweet that he didn't have a back injury, never had a back injury, never reported a back injury. But then Schefter reported, or Rappaport, one of the two, that there was an injury where he was on the injury report with having a back issue. And so, and not to mention, he looks like he's got a back issue when he's walking around. He's hobbled clearly, and JT's returning. The news is JT's returning to the team. JT returned to training camp, but remains on the active PUP. He's still rehabbing. I just think that he's unhappy. He doesn't want to be there. And if you got to take him in the 2nd round now, because he was falling to the 3rd round, which made him a little tempting, I guess. But now he's going to probably climb back into 2 because of the shortage of running backs that Breece Hall just potentially, shed light on to people. I don't know. I'm going nowhere near this situation. Nowhere near. Give me a wide receiver.
Hey, Smitty, can I just chime in quick and I'll get off the phone? It had to do with something Steve was saying.
Yeah.
How he was talking just about, I know you'll probably cover it more in the handcuff video and stuff, but how you were talking about all these different guys that are on teams now that they're kind of a cuff, but they're more stand-alone. With the way that the league's kind of a copycat league, it wouldn't surprise me if in the next couple of years we see more and more of that, where
for sure.
One, just for the depth, because running backs get injured so much, but there's guys that, you could have a RB1 and then a guy that could be a flex, 50% of the time, with like a McKinnon and a Pacheco, it worked, and now Gibbs and Monty, and you're starting to see more and more of that. So
And that's
Just
what
wanted to throw
happens.
that out there.
That's what happens when you have a Jahmyr Gibbs who you could care less. At least a knowledgeable person about the situation, objective person is going to say Monty concerns me 0% because this guy's going to get so much receiving volume. That's what Gibbs is going to do, get receiving volume, and he's also going to run the ball under 200 times, and the team's going to run 430 to 455 times a season. So if the Detroit Lions run 450 times and they don't even give him near half of that amount, they have a whole lot of workload to divide around. So I do believe Breece Hall in a similar vein, if they use him like they used him last year and they start throwing to him a ton, like we're going to see the same kind of thing. Same thing with ETN. You know, ETN's going to be, dare I say ETN and Bigsby is going to be similar. And no one's really feeling that right now. And Bigsby's going to be a problem. And will it matter, though? Maybe not. If they throw the ball enough to ETN, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And this whole concern about the running back dying and going away, it's not going to. Because you had 2 running backs get taken in the top 12 of the NFL draft this year. The running backs are rising in some sense, you could argue. The amount of money they're getting paid isn't. But you just had 2 RBs go in the top 12, which was unthinkable. And how many people called me a moron because I said that Bijan's going in the top 10. Oh, running backs don't go in the top 10, Smitty. Bijan's different. He's going in the top 10. And Gibbs went in the top 12, and they almost took him number 6 overall. The Detroit Lions almost took him number 6 overall. And that's why they screamed and yelled and picked each other up and embraced each other like grown men embrace each other when they draft a guy like Gibbs. They picked each other up, they celebrated, they hugged because they took a gamble and didn't take him earlier on, made a trade, then they waited till 12, and they're like, oh my God, are we going to get Gibbs? And everybody made fun of them, saying they were worried about getting Gibbs at 12. No one drafts an RB in the top 12 because no one's paying attention. Nobody's paying attention to how many teams actually had Gibbs as their number 1 running back on their board and wanted him inside the top 10. But people don't pay attention to that. They just regurgitate what they hear. People say over and over and over, which is running backs don't go in the first round. Bijan's not going in the top 10. Running backs just don't go in the first round. Running backs don't go in the first round. You keep hearing it and hearing it. Everything's case by case. In fantasy, every year. In the NFL, in every piece of news that comes out, you cannot put a blanket over anything. You got to look at everything from an individual case by case perspective. This super chat here by, and Travis, if you got to run, jump off. Appreciate you moderating and calling in. Thank you very much. Hector says dynasty wise. What, Travis?
No. Did you say you're going on later tonight or no?
Might do a dynasty show on Breece Hall. I think we need to.
All right.
I'll try my best.
I'm going to jump. I appreciate it.
All right, later.
I'll talk to you later.
Hector says, dynasty wise, which side do you take? CMC, Mechie, Jordan Mason, or Chubb, Hall, A-Chain? Give me Chubb, Hall, A-Chain by a mile because CMC's on his last leg. And Chubb probably is too, and Breece Hall is just getting going despite what everybody's feeling about this. And Chubb is arguably a top 5 to 10 running back this year. So you're not missing a beat there with any sort of, especially with dynasty implications to that one. Let me go to Avi. Avi, you got 10 seconds. Go. Or no, Scared Scott. Let me go to Scared Scott. First of all, Scared Scott, did you feel the love in the chat when you left? I had everybody throw up prayer emojis for you. And just want to say that we are here for you. I might give you a hard time and be very hard on you at times. But you are appreciated and a part of this community, and we're not going anywhere, and we got your back.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
All right. What are you scared about today?
Now, I just finished. I got 2 things. I just finished the draft. I had 1.7. I took Cooper Kupp. I passed on Bijan because I got several shares of him. Guess who came back to me in the second round?
You got
12-man draft.
You got Bijan in the second round?
Yeah, and
Daryl Revis.
I don't know who. I don't know who you're drafting with. That's a miracle.
In the second round, so
that's crazy, bro.
And I just missed on Olave. I got sniped and had to take Ridley in the third, and I got Fields in the fourth. But anyway, back to this whole thing on Breece Hall. Come on, man. They paid Cook $7 million.
$8.
Hall's I just guaranteed that, how many carries is he going to get a game? I mean, they're going to keep him at that 12, 13 range at best.
at the start, at the onset. But this is a top 1 to 5 running back in the National Football League, Scott. There's only so much they're going to want to. You don't just pay somebody. Well, Cook is getting older, and he's an injury risk, number one. So he's got to even stay healthy all year, number one. Number two, I agree that it's going to be a split in the beginning. I agree. It's going to be a split in the beginning. And that's something that we thought could be possible anyway, even before Dalvin Cook. Like, this is going to be a 8 to 10 carry week 1, 10, 12 carry week 2. You know, it could be week 4 or 5 before he gets fully unleashed. But if you think that everything that we thought about Breece Hall, everything we know about Breece Hall, everything the team believes about Breece Hall, and the fact that talent can't win out, if you truly believe he's not talented enough to completely blow everyone out of the water, then you don't like Breece Hall, and that's fine. But at least admit it. Don't act like you were on the train. No, you don't love him. You don't love him. You can't love him, Scott.
I
you
have
can't.
a problem. I have a problem with the knee.
I know you do, but I can only explain it so many times to people, and you either hear it or you don't. As far as why this ACL recovery is different than every other ACL recovery, and every ACL recovery is different than the next ACL recovery. And you have to look at it case by case. All I hear are people saying, always stay away from people their first year back from an ACL tear. Always stay away from people their first year back from an ACL tear. Always stay away from me. That's all you hear. All you hear, because people are just repeating the last, sentence they heard without looking into it, delving into it. I have knee models, for goodness sake, Scared Scott. I've had every one of these injuries myself. I went out and injured myself on purpose for every one of these injuries so that I could explain them right.
I bet you did.
I went out there and I went like this. Scott. Okay, I don't have an LCL tear yet. Ah! That one hurts. I was wrong about that one, guys. All right, look, Scott, I appreciate you. I get you're scared about.
Y'all have a good night.
I get you're scared about Dalvin Cook, but invest in him, bro. If you like him, trust your gut on him.
Yeah, I hadn't taken any Hall because of it, and I'm kind of glad I did.
Well, are you telling me you're not taking Hall now, though, if he drops to round 6?
Oh, if I've actually set 7 for myself at this point, but maybe in the 6.
Okay, maybe, huh? All right. Well, I'll take him in the 6 for you.
How my team is. I've been usually the 6th and 7th are my second and third running back, so it's just such great value down there because you can grab. I've gotten Rachaad White in the 7th round each of the last 3 drafts.
I like Rachaad White, but I'm taking Breece Hall over Rachaad White. All right, thank you, Scared Scott. Calling again. Appreciate you, and hope you do well tonight.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, later, pal. All right, let's go to Will. Will, you're live.
Yeah, what's going on, Smitty?
What's up, Will?
Yeah, I got a question, okay? I took your advice the other day. I kept Lavier in my keeper.
Lavier.
And now we done drafted, and, we haven't drafted. We did the lottery. So we do the draft on Saturday. So my question is, okay, I end up with the 10, it's a 10-man league PPR. One quarterback, one running back. I'm going to say 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, ESPN league. Okay? At the 10 spot, I'm at the 10 spot. What I want to know is, what would you possibly do at that 10 spot? And if Jalen Hurts is available, is he worth a second, that turn in the second round? I want to know what would you do?
It's a one-person.
First 2. I got
It's a 1-player keeper leave, and you got
right.
Can you say his name one more time? Everybody loved the way you said his name, Chris.
Oh, Lavier.
Lavier, I love it, bro.
Yes.
Lavier.
Yes.
Chris Lavier.
I'm an Ohio State fan too, so yeah.
Yeah, Chris Lavier. Look, this is really a 2nd round pick and then 3rd round pick turn picks, really, because you got 1 player being kept essentially, right? So I mean, Hurts is definitely worth a second or third rounder, but if you think you can get Fields or Burrow a little bit later, and Niner Rick says promo code Smitty, that's right, for Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. If you think you can get one of those quarterbacks, I would wait. I would wait and take advantage of the opportunity you have sitting right in front of you that has all these other players, like a Lavier, as you say. Those are great. Those getting players like him on your team, rostering Gibbs, rostering Bijan. I mean, would I take Bijan and Gibbs back to back in that scenario with Chris Olave on your team? Absolutely. I'd smash the heck out of that button. I like Hurts. Hurts and Olave are a great start, but just ask yourself the question of what quarterbacks will fall. And if T. Law falls to round 6, then you have a better opportunity there to scoop up a whole lot of other talent. But Olave is a great keeper. I like him a lot. I'd have to be on the clock to see who is there. But, I mean, I think the consensus here, and a lot of videos you're going to hear from me in the next couple days, are really that, the running backs are, plentiful down late. And best player available, we only have one running back really in round 1 that we've been promoting all year long. I'm not even really going after Christian McCaffrey hardcore. It's Bijan. And if you go Bijan, then guess what? You're going hero running back, which hero running back, the definition of hero running back is you take one running back in round 1, and then you forget about the position for a long time. Everybody's definition is a little different, but to the tune of like round 5 at least. So you go Bijan, then you go wide receiver, quarterback, wide receiver, and then you come back in and get Pacheco's. You come back and get Breece Hall now. Breece Hall. So if anybody doesn't think that the wide receiver, if you are going to, a best player available allows it, and Bijan's not sitting there, if you don't think wide receiver can work out, it's an amazing opportunity this year.
Yeah, because Bijan, there's a guy that's an Atlanta fan. He's guaranteed to pick Bijan. He's guaranteed. So when I was looking at it, I was like, should I? It wouldn't be good to take running back. I got a Lavier, so I was looking at quarterback, running back. But you think wide receiver, like maybe Wilson and.
Let me play something for you.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Amon-Ra St. Brown and Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2. The double-decker.
Double-deck that. Just draft that double-decker. Get that St. Brown, Garrett Wilson. Stack it live. And then you got Olave. Olave.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I watched that today. I watched that double-decker, but somebody kept St. Brown as their keeper. So I'm stuck with like Wilson and what else? And I'm thinking, Wilson and what?
St. Brown, Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown. I mean, there's a lot of players you could go double decker on. But I'd take Bijan.
Okay.
But if Bijan, how'd you say it? Bijan. Everybody loves the way you're pronouncing these names. Usually we make fun of somebody when they say the name wrong. Everyone's wanting to change the names to the names you're saying because they flow off the tongue so well. Go ahead, say
Okay.
Say Robinson's first name one more time.
Bijan.
Bijan. I think you're saying like Bijan. I love it. Bijan and Olave. I love it.
Bijan,
I love it, bro. Hey, Will, I appreciate you, man. You're like a fan favorite already. Everybody loves this man.
Thank you, man. I love your show, man.
The show loves you.
I started watching you like a month, and I watch you all day at work, and I tried to catch you tonight because I said I really value what you say because I noticed that you seem to let everybody win with you. It's like you willing to, you're not holding no secrets back. And
yeah.
So, I really like you up front, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely, I'll do a live stream on a player that I don't want to talk about because I'm in the middle of a draft, but I'll do it because I work for you guys. So that doesn't never let a league influence me. But appreciate you, Will. Call in tomorrow, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you. Okay, I got to go quick. So Scuba Steve, you got 9 seconds. Will took one of your seconds. Go. 7, 6, 5.
Hey, sorry, Smitty. So on Fantasy Pros, they had Travis Etienne on their do not draft list. I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I think that he has some type of value. I mean, there's a couple guys, but I don't have much time. So I just figured I'd bring up one of the big names in Travis Etienne.
I disapprove of that take. Like, Etienne's a fantastic value, but it does depend on where he climbs to after this Breece Hall news. If he climbs into 3.1, the scale of risk versus reward becomes a little bit more unstable, and it's wobbling around a little bit. Right now at 3.7, or better yet, 4.1. Like, if you get Etienne in 4th round later, like Etienne and Najee. Etienne and Najee. I think Najee climbs up a couple picks too. But Etienne and Najee, those guys are fantastic 4th rounders. There's so much baked in risk at that point. And we're hearing word that the offense is gearing more toward throwing the football to Etienne, that he's catching everything thrown to him in practice. If he's not being thrown to, how is he catching everything in practice? You know what I mean? So it's good news. You got to be careful, though, because he's not worth a 3.1. There's a big difference in just liking somebody anywhere and liking them at the right cost of entry, because you got to balance the risk versus reward. So 4th round, smash, bro. Etienne, smash. 3rd round, it's 50-50. Like, he's 50% amazing, 50% scary. And that's a player that you don't necessarily avoid. You avoid somebody that's like 60-70% scary, 30% amazing. And literally Swift would have that value if he was sitting in round 3 or 4. Like, if Swift cost you what Etienne cost you, he would be 60%, 70% fear, 30% upside. But because he's in round 6, 7, it's kind of like 50-50, or, you know, so then it becomes acceptable. It's just an ever-moving scale, you know, and every player in every draft slot, every changing draft slot, every hike in ADP, every fall in ADP adjusts everything, and you got to reassess it all. So that's why people think I'm a flip-flopper sometimes when they say, Smitty, you just like that player. Well, his ADP was different, Bob. Like, ADP changes, news changes, and what do you want me to do? Be an Excel sheet, Eric, that you ask me, who's my number 22 overall running back? Let me read it off an Excel sheet I created 3 weeks ago and give it to you. No, every day is going to be different. Every hour is going to be different. I probably rank Breece Hall one spot differently for good or bad than when I started the show. Like, that's just the nature of my analysis. So appreciate you, Scuba. We'll see you later, pal. Call him tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem, man. I just gonna say before I hang up, is it because of the guy that's backing him up? Is that why a lot of people are not on him? The rookie that they signed there. Is that somebody that
certainly
looking at?
Certainly part of it, because that guy's a truck. He's a truck, and they want to give him the goal line work probably. And Etienne, they want to lessen his load because they leaned on him heavily at the end of the year, which showed a lot of trust. But the fact that they didn't want to do it again is concerning if they aren't going to throw to him, which we haven't been told. So he's kind of a risky proposition, because we're assuming the reason they don't want to overwork him is because they want to throw to him, right? But we needed confirmation. Yeah. We kind of got a little confirmation, didn't we? Because in the offseason, we kept hearing he's catching everything they're throwing at him. Now, did that mean they threw one ball to him and he caught it? Like, we don't really have all the details on some of that because we don't have video of everything. And we don't have numbers. No one's really reporting on how many catches he has unless somebody finds that data. But from the thinking and talking and reporting I've seen, that he's been thrown to quite a bit this offseason, and he's catching everything they're throwing at him. So that's good confirmation that any kind of offset of rushing gets thrown into the receiving category. And so I like him. But absolutely, bro. And Doug Peterson's a running back by committee type of guy. So you got to be a little fearful of a running back by committee. But every team, as we talked about, today, is turning toward a committee of some sorts. And it just comes down to, is the player a weapon or are they an RB? I think this is like, people might joke about this, but I truly believe we're going to start calling some of these running backs like a W. They're going to be a weapon. They're going to be a weapon. There's going to be a RB, there's going to be a wide receiver, and there's going to be a weapon. Or instead of a wide back, it's going to be the reverse of that would be, instead of a wide back, they'd be like what would it be? What would be the reverse of wide back? It'd be, I don't know. I got to come up with something. But it's going to be a weapon. Plain and simple. All right, Scuba, got to go. Appreciate you. Later. Stefan from Missouri, final thoughts.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for how much content you push out there. I appreciate it on my ride to and fro from work. But I did have a question in reference to your top 4 QBs. 10-man league, would you throw everything aside as far as, your draft strategy if the top 4, let's say 3 of them drop to round 4 and they're available, my QB or my league tends to go like QB late. Would you pick like a QB before anybody else in the 4th round in a 10-man league? Yeah, I mean, that's basically my question.
100%, 100%, because what I don't know and what I think you don't know and what I think probably happens, this is probably what's going to happen if I had to predict the future here for you, is that once they go, they fly. Like maybe they wait, but once one's taken, they're all 4 of them are going to be gone in that round. So there's no opportunity for you to like be like, oh, okay, so once they start picking them, I can ease back into the conversation and take a quarterback. So 100%, 4th round, everyone needs to stop looking for a better bargain at some point. It's like when you find a deal online and you get cheap, even extra cheap about it. You're getting like 25% off and you're still looking for another like promo code. You're like, can I get 33? I got 25% off. Can I get 33? You're searching, you take the promo code off and now you can't reapply it or something. You're like, no! And now you can't get the 25% off and you're just begging the internet gods to put you back in the position you were in that you selfishly didn't, appreciate. It's like at some point, don't keep bargain hunting when you have a guy that could be the number 1 overall scorer in all of fantasy football sitting there as your 4th drafted player. So that is a smash. Don't worry about the trends. Sometimes it's better to draft against traffic. And what you might find, my guy, is that if you take Mahomes or Hurts, let's say, and you have 4 or 5 quarterbacks go between that pick and your next pick, guess what? Less running backs and wide receiver go, and you got a whole bunch of people that shouldn't be there at your next pick. So it's going to just trickle through. Drafting against traffic is the best thing you can do, or setting the trend, slamming on your brakes on the freeway and then turning the other direction and watching them all slow down. That's what you're doing.
So would you rather, just one more little nuance?
Yeah, last one. I got to run.
Would you rather, if Ridley was available in the 4th and all those guys, and you knew you could get Trevor Lawrence in the 6th, you'd still do that?
That'd be a tough one because if you give me Hurts and Dotson versus Trevor Lawrence and Ridley, I'm liking Hurts and Dotson more. But if you could give me Fields in the next round, so if you could give me Ridley and then around 5 Fields, I'd take that.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it.
All right. Later, bro.
Later.
All right. Avi, final thoughts.
Yeah, I just been chilling, listening along. Yeah, I got 2 final thoughts. Smitty is the man for fantasy football. Fantasy football is week to week, guys. Week 1, he's going to change his opinion. We're all going to change our opinion. So fantasy football is the most complicated thing ever. And you just got to take it one day at a time. And for my 21st birthday, I'm going to the Saints-Patriots game, and I'm getting a Chris Olave. To the moon. Because I was born in Louisiana.
A Chris Olave
I can't wait for that game.
A Chris Olave jersey?
Yep.
All right. Hey, Avi, happy birthday. And for those of you that thought I was disrespectful.
November.
For those of you.
November 3rd.
Oh, okay. For those that think that I'm disrespectful. For those that think I'm disrespectful by hanging up on Avi, I think you can hear in his voice he's not taking offense by it. Avi, appreciate you.
Later, pal. Appreciate it.
Happy birthday. Happy 19th birthday. Okay, Okafor, you're live. I'll give you 15 seconds.
Hey, I just did a draft and Breece went like 4.5. It's hard for me to see him dropping to the 6th round. I feel like those are going to be like isolated incidents.
Yeah, but it's hard to know, bro. It's hard to know. I'm telling you, I have no clue where he's going to go. To be honest, I have no clue. By the way, the puppy 3s are out, which is fantastic.
Yeah. So, Smitty, I'm up to get your head a little bit. So, whenever you're asked about whenever you bring up a split, you talk about like at the beginning of a season. What kind of split are you imagining like at the end of the season?
In a predictive world where I'm making guesses and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh God, you can." I'm predicting. I'm gonna say Dalvin Cook is probably injured. if Dalvin Cook's not injured, I think. Well, he's got. Is that hilarious?
Well, that makes sense.
He's got a mangled shoulder.
That makes sense now.
He's got a mangled shoulder. Okafor.
That's. I said you. Well, never mind. You're not.
Look. They did an MRI on his shoulder at the same hospital. They did an MRI on King Tut's shoulder, and they mixed up the folders, and they couldn't tell which one was King Tut's shoulder and which one was Dalvin Cook's. They're like, I don't know which one's Dalvin's, and they look the same. They've deteriorated the same. They're all torn up. They look like a 150-year-old man's rotator, and labrum is completely diced up. It looks like someone put it in a blender and just kind of put it back in place. Like they broke it, and they're like, let's put this back. That's what happened. Same hospital. Almost true story.
This man, he doesn't need his shoulders. Now we've learned that. He just puts on his little device.
He does.
Whatever he hooks up to his shoulders.
In fairness, but don't you remember like 2 years ago? Not 1 year ago, but 2 years ago, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. Like I'm talking like his whole career up until like last year. The guy was like put in a casket, and the nails were put in, and they walk him off the field 2 and 3 times a season. And you'd be like, he's done.
Yep.
He'd hobble. He'd crawl to the sideline. He'd be helped to the sideline. This guy's always getting hurt. And he comes back sometimes for sure. But he's always getting hurt. He's a huge injury risk. So when you giggled and laughed like crazy when I said, you asked me, what do I envision? And I said, people are going to say, oh, he's predicting things. I don't see him being healthy at his older age, as with all the shoulder issues he's had, all the other injuries he's always prone to having. I don't see him in the picture at the end of the season. But that's just my take, my prediction. But do I think he could be a solid contributor in fantasy football in week 1, 2, 3, 4? Sure. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm looking at it from an objective point of view that he could be 60% of the work in week 1. I'm not crazy to sit there and act like, Hall's just going to be the number one back the whole entire season. Like, they clearly are doing this to keep Hall healthy and not rush him along. We also don't know if there was a setback. I don't think there was. I think it's more reckless to assume so than to not assume. So I personally don't think we should be going there yet. But I don't understand why everyone thinks that this situation, you know what it is? It's just a knee-jerk reaction. It's psychology and the way people's minds react. It's the deflated balloon analogy that I gave you. Like if the fact that a lot of you in the chat are saying Cook to the moon, he's a running back 1, and you're not scared of Breece Hall, that's so backwards. And it's so biased to say that he's new to the equation, so this is not going to affect him, versus he's there and he's there. Does anybody stop to think, the people saying Cook is going to the moon and all that, have stopped to think the same reason you think that Hall's not going to the moon is the same reason you should be thinking Cook's not going to the moon? I don't even understand it. I don't understand how you could be super high on Cook when your reason for being down on Hall is a running back by committee. Doesn't make any sense at all. And this guy's going, regardless of where we took him, this guy's going around 6 now.
Okay, assuming... well, I guess I can understand that because you were like, you're project like the way you're talking was like Cook wasn't even there. So if you're kind of assuming he's not going to be there, or like you're expecting that to happen, then I could see that. But assuming he is there, assuming him getting less carries, him splitting, keeps him a little bit fresher throughout the season.
All right, hold on.
Once you imagine
Alert! Super chat alert!
Sorry, I had a super chat there from Will Smith Sr., who was just on the phone. Will from Alabama. We love this guy. Olave. We love Olave, Mr. Olave. This guy's a fan favorite. I'm telling you. He's
Olave.
Olave, that's what he said. See, yeah, you remembered it. I couldn't remember. Olave. That's such a, it's like catchy. Like you could get like, you could want to repeat that over and over and just annoy someone, like in a car ride. Olave. It sounds
much more regal. Regal.
I like it. Just showing love, bro. Appreciate the love in the phone line. The phone call. Appreciate you. The phone call appreciates you back. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my guy. All right, Okafor, I got to let you go. I'll see you later. I might go live on the Dynasty channel late tonight. Later, pal.
All right, later.
That was a spicy show, I'm not going to lie. And I don't blame. Look, we're going to have a couple times where there's a big group of people, especially there were some new people in here today. We're about at our normal, view count, but things are growing. The show's getting out there. I appreciate everybody spreading the word. And if you don't know, if you're new and you don't realize that we're live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern every single day. I don't care if it's Christmas Eve or New Year's Day or whatever the hell it is. We do it live, okay? We're also live whenever news breaks. Like today, we went live on the Zeke Elliott news, and then this Dalvin Cook news broke right before the show, so I waited until 8 p.m. But we're live whenever news breaks. And this will be our graveyard schedule moving forward in like a week or two. So hang tight on this. I go live pretty much every other day right now. But this will be the schedule soon, 1 a.m. Eastern. So I'm live more than anybody you know. There's not a single YouTuber or content creator that goes live more than me. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. We've been live for 2 hours and 45 minutes on the 8 p.m. show. Live whenever news breaks. Live on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Basically, when football starts Thursday night and football ends Monday evening, the Monday night game, I'm live at midnight every single one of those days. Or as Amon Ross St. Brown put it, okay. Appreciate you all. Super chats are as follows. Will, again, thank you, Will, for that super chat. $20 hauler. Appreciate you. Nathan, thank you for yours. Nathan says Dalvin to Mars list at 90 ADP. That should move. Dalvin's going to climb. Hall's going to fall. And I think we need to do a Breece Hall video where I take him off the Marsman list and then re-add him on as his newfound value because his value is different and it's from a different lens. And on this note, I'm doing this because he deserves it.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece. He's Breece.
He does a hell of a job. A hell of a job. A hell of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
He does a hell of a job.
Dow Breeze, if you want. Nathan had a $10 hauler.
To the moon.
Nathan, all $10 haulers get a moonshot. I didn't give you your proper moonshot. I'm sorry about that. Nathan, thank you for the super chat. Thank you to Nathan, Will Smith, Hector, G-Men, Corey, Russian Collusion, Michael with this $20 hauler, Michael H. Nathan again with the $10 hauler. Amazing, Nathan. Kilpatrick, Alex, Corey, Russian Collusion, Scotty, Matt O, even that Harrison guy, Matt O, Joe, Hunter, Carrie. Appreciate you, Carrie, for dropping the super chat. Joe, Grant himself, Devo, Matthew, Overcome, Wesley, AJ Lancaster, Overcome, Denny, Reebok Joe, my boy Reebok, Dale Z, Terry Roberts, Isaac K, Garrett Garcia, Gabriel, Isaac K, DJ Meat Missile, Dallas, Reaper, Wizard, Salty Chopper, Garrett again, Sick Nasty again, Scotty, Bryson, Garrett again, Garrett Garcia. I love Garrett Garcia. He's the man. James and Warren dropping the first super chat of the night. Warren, you get a standing ovation. Warren dropping the first. This video's coming. And I'll be honest with you guys because I'm always honest and I always adjust and adapt. I don't know that Breece Hall is going to be in this video anymore. And that's my honesty. That's me coming from the honest angle. But I'll certainly address it and tell you what player replaces him. And we'll go from there. But it doesn't mean he's not going to be breaching it. Doesn't mean he's not going to be 6 to 10. You know, this is a minor setback, but he definitely will be. Probably the next video will replace him. We'll probably do it on Pollard, but I'll talk about who the replacement is. But it doesn't mean he's just right outside of the top 5 running back conversation. Not that all these guys are locked in. This video was, again, give me the bold 5 players if you had to go bold that could be in the top 5 that other people aren't putting in their top 5. Minus Bijan. We put Bijan in there because he's number 1. And that's bold enough to be in this list. These guys no one has in their top 5. And granted, he's falling out, but this is a bold list for a reason. This is not a cookie cutter list. This is a bold list. So that video is coming. And then wide receiver videos are coming too. Because, this is, if best player available allows it, and you always need to allow best player available to dictate who you take. But wide receiver in round 1's becoming the way to go, or Bijan and wide receiver. So wide receiver, or Bijan, wide receiver are probably the 2 best strategies right now in fantasy football going forward. Just because the running backs are so deep. Breece Hall falling to round 5 or 6, maybe 6 or 7 is going to create an opportunity. Patrick, $5 holler, keeper league. Should I keep Walker in the 7th or London in the 8th? Walker in the 7th or London in the 8th? I'd probably take Walker in the 7th. I think London could fall to like 6 or 5. So it's kind of like, tempted to say, like, let London fall as close to that value as he could, and he could. He's not going to fall all the way there, but Walker feels a little bit safer for me. Other keepers are Amon-Ra, 4th round smash, 10-man league. I go Walker. Amon-Ra and Walker, it's good balance anyway, and get it done. I proved that. I will see you all later. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for all did anybody do gifted memberships tonight? Gifted memberships. D-Class, appreciate you. By the way, I don't know if I got any gifted memberships here. I think gifted memberships would be great time for some gifted Oh, D-Class was saying that. It's okay if anybody didn't. I just want to recognize anybody that did. Thank you all for your super chats. I'll see you potentially tonight on the Dynasty channel. And don't forget Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Here's that link right here if you want to play Underdog and draft using promo code Smitty. Match up to $100 in your first deposit using code Smitty. The link in the live chat uses code Smitty for you. The link is in the description of every video in case you're watching the replay or missed the link. I'm going to pin the link right now on the way out the door. Sign up ahead of time so you can draft with us tomorrow night. If you don't sign up now and get that double match up to $100, by the way, if you don't sign up now and just do it real quick, it takes like 2 minutes, minute and a half, then you're not going to be ready to draft with us tomorrow night. You're going to miss out. So click that link, do it live. I will see all of you later. 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, live whenever news breaks. Thank you all. You guys absolutely rock. Pickens to the moon. Absolutely, Kenny. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Travis Rowe, for moderating. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Space Ricky, for moderating. Thank you, Petrified Woods. Thank you, Lance. Thank you, Philly. Juan, Isaac, like I already said. David, Nathaniel, Nathan. Appreciate you, Nathan. Hod Prime, Okafor, Swaggy, Travis Rowe. Thank you for moderating again, pal. Mike Jones. Appreciate you. Tex, Smooth. Appreciate you. That boy, my guy, that boy. Don't look at it as a bad day for Breece Hall, that boy. It's going to be good. I'll see you all tomorrow. Probably tonight on the Dynasty channel. I'm not positive, but here's that Dynasty link. If you guys have not subscribed to the Dynasty channel, please hit this link before you leave. And this link will allow you... Where is it? Hold on, let me copy the link and put it in. Dynasty channel, here it is. Subscribe to the Dynasty channel. Won't let me paste it. Hold on. There it is. Subscribe to the Dynasty channel. Right there. See you later, pal.